Welcome, my friends and enemies. Glad you are here. We have another edition of Council of the Light, and it's a lot of news time. So I guess we'll start with introductions. Inquisitor Sage, how are you doing, good sir?
Hey, I live, so still a good day.
Drats.
It might get a bit worse once we look at some stuff, I guess.
Possibly. Bonjour, Matt.
Bonjour, my friend. Bonjour.
Since you have not upgraded to an Inquisitor, how's it going?
Well, I'm feeling better. The flu thing seems to be mostly worked its way out of my system.
Good.
Lingering symptoms. I'm tired. I don't know. I guess one of those. Sometimes you just feel tired for no logical reason.
I am that way all the time.
Yeah.
It's because I'm always doing something that just drains energy out of me.
Maybe all the commies in the videos about the
Oh, no, don't start this again. The commies are doing a seance to like suck all the life out of you. I guess that makes sense, actually, surprisingly. So, anyway, we have a topic of multiple topics. So we'll just get into those topics now, I suppose. Fable, shocker, is being delayed until 2026.
All the way to 2026.
Yeah. And I'm like,
Wow.
okay, at this point, you're just remaking the whole game because, like, freaking
It's a whole year away.
literally. Well,
Wow.
11 months away, or actually, soon to be 10 months away.
And in a bit.
Now, this is the updated image we've gotten about the main character. Now, does that look a little different from what you're used to?
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, it's just much different. Like, much different. This is what I would call a woman who's never heard of makeup, which, to be fair, I usually prefer. But natural beauty is something that you can't project quite like we project this. So,
given the fact that she's being recorded on film, she's probably lathered in makeup.
I think she's just lathered in dots, personally. But
no, I'm serious.
For
Like
mocap,
to get your skin color to show up as human and not ghastly in studio lighting and all that, they have to lather you with makeup.
possibly, but the actual actress, I think, is a little bit more tanned on that end. They could also possibly do it completely digital. I don't know. But either way, this is definitely a total differentiation from the prior one. They might show an image. I don't know. Publisher Xbox Game Studios and co-developers Playground Games in Eidos, Montreal, because Montreal's definitely the bastion of good quality gaming. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that too much sarcasm?
Wait, is that also where Assassin's Creed's made?
Montreal. It might be Toronto, but I think it might be Montreal. Announced yet another delay for their long-awaited Fable reboot. Rebuted. It's rebuked and reboot. Personally, I despise the concept of going into the fairy tale world in Fable because that's not Albion, and Albion is where it's supposed to be. But maybe they're trying. I don't know if they mean reboot as in they're completely remaking the franchise from what it used to be to what it is now, or if it's just a new addition to since Fable hasn't been done since Fable 3, maybe they haven't, they're calling it a reboot as in they're bringing it back, but I can't tell if it's a reboot or a relaunch, I guess. But it's supposed to launch sometimes in 2026, Windows PC and Xbox Series XS, which I guess means that Phil Spencer, the retard over at Microsoft, does not want to put it on PlayStation, which I still find as a ridiculous concept. And some new footage was shown in the game during an Xbox Studios official Xbox podcast update. We're not going to watch that. The new reboot for Fable was originally announced nearly 5 years ago and was originally being developed by Playground Games with co-developer Eidos Montreal brought on later to help with the game. And that's probably where I went south. They also should have just kept, what was it, Lionface Studios or whatever it's called? Lionheart Studios? I don't remember what the original... It was Lion something. Lionhead Studios. Lionhead Studios, that's what it was. They should have just brought that back. But it's every time they... a company or a publisher or somebody brings back, like they buy a dev company and they're like, look, we got this IP. We want you to work on this IP. And then we're going to fire you all before the project ever actually sees the light of day. And then later on, we'll have somebody else pick up the project and do it. And it's like, why not just have the people who know what they're doing do it? Like,
Well, I don't know.
stupidity is everywhere. But actually, there's an editor's note, 15 minutes. Maybe we can.
Games in this past
Wow, that's echoed. How about we I actually don't know how to do that. What was muted?
Okay, well, I don't think it's echoed for us.
It echoed for me pretty hard, but I don't know why it echoed, because it shouldn't be echoing. No video should be echoing. Interesting. Let me see. If it doesn't echo for you guys, I'm okay with it
It's
echoing.
15.
This is probably way too loud as well.
well, there's one other highly anticipated game that we'll be very excited about.
No, it's echoing really hard. Okay.
It's not echoing for me, so.
I know, but I'm the one who picks it up on the computer.
Yeah, but does it also record the echo or?
Yes. All the desktop sounds.
Okay.
So yeah,
never mind.
this is super fun, guys. This is super fun. I love when things work together like
Just
this.
turn subtitles on. I mute it.
Oh, that's also an idea. Fable. Let's see if we can skip through it. See if there's anything. You gonna show actual gameplay or the cinematic trailer, anything? Or are you just gonna talk?
No, this is just an interview.
Ah, here we go. So this is the pre-alpha footage. The game looks nice from like a graphical standpoint.
I guess.
Cockatrice. That's the main character. This just looks. That's the updated footage. Yeah, I don't care about the rest of it. Okay. I'm gonna have to figure out that echo nonsense because that wasn't there earlier. What the frick? But yeah, Fable is, as you might expect, a terrible, terrible, terrible thing, and it should be like the most exciting thing ever. But I know people who've played the original Fables, and they're like, "Oh, I don't really like this, or I don't want that, or blah 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 blah." I don't know. It's all bloody obnoxious to me. So I guess we will see one way or another.
Well, again, all we know is they're delaying it for whatever reason, and are they retooling it? Is was it a financial setback or whatever?
I think it's because Trump won and the woke was getting smacked. But that's like, I don't want to dive into that. But it's just like there's a massive shift in how people are doing things in games. I'm not saying necessarily that the game itself had like lots of woke elements in it. I think it was more like the character design.
They might just be afraid of backlash, so they want to fix it maybe beforehand.
Possibly, but I also think it's just like the character itself was uglified. Because if you see the actress who plays the character, she's not that ugly. She's actually pretty cute. But they like made her digitally super hideous. And then it's just like, well, why'd you do that?
Well, because they can't make good, perfect renditions, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to bring up. It's because they say that, and then they make perfect renditions of every other actor, especially all the male actors.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't think you know how that works out, man. But
only ugly women matter, I guess, in the wokers.
Yeah, basically. Let's let's see. I'm going to have to pull this down. Sorry, guys. I have to fix this little tweak because it's going to bother me to no freaking end.
And you can do it live.
We're doing it live.
Yep.
Yeah. I might not be able to do it live, but I might try, I guess. Let's see. Do 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 do. All right, we got that fixed, I believe. So we should be able to. Wow. I should be able to go back to normal. Look at you split. I hate the system sometimes. Anyway, yes. So we're moving on to the news that kind of hit recently about Kathleen Kennedy seemingly to finally step down because, that hasn't been an ongoing joke for the last decade, it feels like. For those who are not familiar with this, basically once the new Star Wars Disney trilogy came out, everybody was kind of excited because we got to experience Star Wars again, but also disappointed because we experienced the wrong type of Star Wars. A very inferior type of Star Wars. And people are like, with this failure, Kathleen Kennedy should step down, put somebody in a place of power and whatnot. And that doesn't seem to be the case all the way up until potentially now, where apparently she's the one who announced that she was leaving at the end of her contract. This could mean she's either leaving willingly. This could mean she's getting fired or not getting renewed. This could mean a lot of different things in that regard. So hopefully we'll get some ideas. But here is Star Wars Theory doing his little announcement of this.
Literally 8 minutes ago, just found out that Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down from Lucasfilm this year. You don't want to hate or dislike.
And I probably actually need to share it first. I'm good at what I do, guys. Don't worry. And actually save my bacon in some way.
Literally 8 minutes ago, just found out that Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down from Lucasfilm this year. You don't want to hate or dislike someone, but I mean, she has respectfully, she's fucked the brand royally.
Yeah.
Day of the convention, bit of mayhem, just having some eggs and potatoes, a little bit of mango, some tea, and the packages still haven't arrived, so we're fucked.
That's a good,
So we have a
good take.
convention, but no product to sell.
Pretty much. We have a few, but not enough. We're fucked. All right, let's get the fuck out of here.
This is, I think, where he gets the news.
Just give the car to valet, take care of it. Parking downtown all day is like impossible.
What's up, bro?
What's up, babies?
Yeah, I don't know how much of this is actually going to turn into Star Wars Theory covering the topic, but we got basically the thing we needed out of it, I guess, where he announces that, and yeah.
So the summary so far, the story so far, is Kathleen Kennedy. Her contract originally was up around, I think, 2022 or something like that. And everyone thought she was going to lay off then because of how bad things were. Well, she used her internal corporate political influence to get a renewed contract. And the word that came out was she wanted to stay until she could get one good Star Wars film out there that would be financially successful and all that shit.
Which is ironic because that just means that she admits that none of her stuff was successful.
Well, that was a private conversation. The public
I guess
conversation.
I know.
guess that
Whether
is
it's private or not, is that she's admitting that
a
none of
good
it's
loophole,
successful.
though. Just say, yeah, I'll stay until I have a good one, and then keep making bad ones. You'll get paid
Yeah.
forever.
Well,
What?
she would. I mean, leaving aside how horrible she has been as a steward of Star Wars, as a human being, for at least she's tired and really wants to retire.
I mean,
She feels her age and all that.
She's wealthy. It's not like she's starving for food or anything. She doesn't have to go panhandling. So she's
No,
perfectly.
but
She
like
could have
you-
left whenever she wanted to and been
You start to
fine.
feel your age. I mean, I can tell you at 51, and like I've been feeling my age for quite a while, and
Hey, I
No,
hit
I
my
can
30s.
imagine.
I feel my age.
Yeah. I can imagine if you're a grandparent and you want to spend time with the grandkids before you die and all that sort of stuff. You know,
Well, I got the article up since I decided to
Yeah.
go the actual intelligent route, since I didn't watch that
Yeah.
video because I was hoping to watch it live, and then
well,
half of
well,
it's
I-
going to turn to
okay.
something else.
So go ahead. Yeah, let's do the article. The article is going to say stuff that I was going to say anyway. So
Yeah, Star Wars chief Kathleen Kennedy set to exit Lucasfilm in 2025 after a turbulent more than a decade, tenure. Kathleen Kennedy has told Disney, along with friends and colleagues, that she plans to step down as Lucasfilm's president by year's end. It aligns with Disney CEO Bob Iger's planned departure in 2026. Oh, he'll still control it. We all know that. Puck News reports that 72-year-old executive initially intended to leave in 2024, but extended her tenure for another year. The major trades corroborate the report, adding that Kennedy has told people that she plans to retire. However, neither Disney, Lucasfilm, nor Kennedy herself has officially confirmed the news. That's ironic. I'm going to announce it and then not officially announce it. A separate source close to Kennedy, however, dismissed the initial reports by Puck's as pure speculation, said nothing has been decided, according to an update. Now, that's what makes me hesitant to even talk about these kind of things, is because half the time we see this and we're like, okay, this has been an announcement for forever and ever and ever, amen, and it's always been kind of just a rumor with no actual foundation behind it. But then you have somebody saying, oh, plans to announce this, and it kind of gets spread everywhere, and everybody thinks it's true, and it may or may not be. Again, we don't know if the source saying that it's not true is even not just a fake source, so it's hard to tell exactly which one is true. I guess by the end of 2025 we'll find out, but I have a feeling, my own personal belief, is that this is a ploy in order to get people to invest in Disney. Because
I can see that.
If a person is announcing that they are leaving and they've been the problem for this for the entire time. Now, some people argue it's Bob Iger. I don't think Bob Iger has anything to do with Star Wars. But if Kathleen Kennedy is coming in there and just wrecking everything because she doesn't know what she's doing, she's really bad at everything she does, even though she has a decent set of projects behind her before coming to Lucasfilm, she's wrecked Indiana Jones, she's wrecked Star Wars, she's not done anything good for Star Wars, really. There's been some accidentally not horrible things, like gosh, what are they even called? What was the precursor to episode 4 called? I'm already
Rogue
blanking.
One.
oh,
Rogue One. Rogue One wasn't horrible. It
Yeah,
wasn't the
Rogue One-
best.
Rogue
wasn't
One
the one.
began 10 years ago, 10 years before film as a George Lucas project, though. Kathleen Kennedy was not. It predates Kathleen Kennedy's existence.
Yeah. And if that's the case,
Wait, this
it makes
was
sense
made
why it
like
was
more than 72 years ago.
Right, you know, I mean,
I think it
well,
means
you
like
know what
it
I
was
mean.
written out like it was going to be
Fair
done a
enough.
particular way.
Yeah, the commies bred Kathleen Kennedy in a jar about 10 years ago. You know.
Oh,
That does make
see.
sense, actually.
Yeah.
They
But anyway,
killed the
It
real
was supposed to
Kennedy.
be a TV show. You remember in Star Wars how they mentioned the spy missions to get the Death Star plans, right?
Yeah.
So George looked at idea, hey, let's do a TV show about those spies getting the Death Star plans, right? And then that percolated into
Andor?
becoming the
What?
real, you know, that percolated into becoming a movie about them, and then eventually it was in pre-production before George sold this franchise, and so they just finished it. And I mean, I happen to really enjoy Rogue One.
I
I
enjoyed it.
So
think that's the best final act of any Star Wars movie, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I consider it the only good Star Wars from Disney.
yeah, I would agree with that. I've heard Andor's not horrible, but it's just slow and kind
Yeah,
of
but
boring.
I haven't seen that yet. So
Well,
I can't-
Andor
Yeah.
is like the Rogue One to Rogue One.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the pre-Rogue One. Because everything needs a prequel nowadays. It's ridiculous.
It's Rogue Zero, you know. It's like
It's like what's the prequel for Andor going to be? Freaking the Old Republic, like
it's Rogue -1.
Rogue Minus One.
Yeah.
With a budget of $15 million, and it's going to be a big seller.
Yeah.
But no,
But,
like when you have all these things being announced and everything's just going down, like Rogue One was one of those offshoots. I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting it to be that good, and it was that good. But when Kathleen Kennedy is the source, like she's the root of this ancient tree that is the IP. She's the root that is there because obviously.
So she's like the Danzo of Star Wars.
She's the what?
Oh, you didn't get the Naruto reference?
It's been a long time, dude.
The Danzo is one of the villains of Naruto.
Oh, Danzo. I thought you said damsel. I was like, no, she's not a damsel. Yeah, she is the Danzo, yeah.
She's our enslaved minions running Lucasfilms.
Basically, yeah. That sounds about right. But no, she's the root cause of the Disney Star Wars stuff. And with Disney Star Wars not succeeding over and over and over again, this should be obvious to anyone with a half a brain cell. But for some reason, it's not. When it comes to noticing that Disney's losing a lot of support investment, their stocks are dropping hard consistently. They need whatever bumps they can get. And you take one of your largest IPs like Star Wars and try to give it some fresh air, so to speak. And the fresh air has to be like, oh, we're making an announcement, because what is Star Wars or Lucasfilms good at doing? Making announcements. No, making announcements. They're really good at making announcements. Yeah. We're doing this project. We're doing this project. We have all these projects, and it gets investors excited.
Yeah, but is that being good at it or just doing it?
That's being good at making announcements, because that's all they ever do is make announcements.
Yeah, but you can also make a lot of announcements and not actually be that good at it.
I mean, there's not really much of a difference, to be honest. They're basically the same thing. So, if you make a lot of announcements saying, oh, we're doing this trilogy, Rian Johnson's going to get his trilogy, I think Mangold is supposed to get a couple of movies or another trilogy or whatever, and then you have, like, oh, we're giving this woman this trilogy or this woman this movie, and then we have, oh, we get the Rey movie, and we're like, yeah, you're making a lot of announcements, and that's basically to generate or build up a lot of excitement about what's going to happen in Star Wars, so people flood the area with their investment money because they're like, ooh, well, whatever they make, we're going to make big bank off of this. And while that's what you'd want to use the normal stocks system for, it's an abuse of the stock system because they're getting people to invest and then not, like, they're quietly canceling stuff or never talking about them ever again. Well, and then it's just like people have been invested.
Okay. Because all the stuff that we're hearing with these proposed movies or whatever, that type of stuff is always flowing behind the scenes. The investors know about that stuff. It's now
the investors know that when they announce stuff, they're not actually going to announce. They're not going to actually do it.
90% of what there are presentations to the board about what's going on in the company, and 90% of what's in there for a media company never gets completed.
I mean, that might be fair, but the volume of projects they throw out there in terms of, like, oh, we're making all this stuff, and then, like, years pass and none of it's getting made. It's all getting quietly canned. Like, nothing's moving forward in production or anything or whatsoever. It's like they got people to invest and then just didn't do anything. And it's not abnormal for Disney to have underhanded practices to begin with. Like, they do this kind of stuff all the time. It's not like it's a nothing burger.
Almost every company does that. I mean,
I know, and it's an abuse of the stock system, because you gotta also keep in mind that stock, or I should say shareholders more than stockholders, but shareholders are not always themselves involved with every move or everything about what the company they're invested in is doing. They have a finance person doing it for them. And they might be just like, yeah, I'm going to throw money at Disney, and then I'm just going to, like, not pay attention to it because I got other things I can do. I mean, that's what executive producers of companies do, and corporate and CEOs and everything do all the time.
Well, that's the thing, right? So, like, the majority of investors in Disney are a small group of very wealthy companies and people. And they send their people to these presentations to the stockholders, and the dude comes back and, oh, yeah, they got 17 movies in development for Star Wars. They have 14 TV shows, blah blah. And the guy and your investor's like, okay, man, I don't even go, okay, let me know what pans out, and I'm not defending the practice. But that's the way it's
Yes,
been
you
for
are.
decades, for like 100+ years of corporations, and we just get to know about it now because of the way media works. That it gets publicized, But
Yeah.
back to the point about the Kennedy thing, Iger, I believe it says in this or one of the other articles that Iger is leaving
2026.
and
2026.
Yeah. 2026, and he wants to, in his view, leave the franchise, all the franchises in a good place, so he gets credit for the turnaround.
Yeah, but it won't even be started by the time he leaves, so it wouldn't matter anyway.
No, but if the people are in place, who the new head of Star Wars, whoever is, if Marvel has, or Marvel's made that turnaround, so to speak, already, other companies, if Iger appoints them, that he can sit in his retirement and say, see what I did, blah blah blah. His options get paid out more at a higher rate, and
I'm struggling to see it happen that way. I know that there's the announcements. I know that there's the plans. Like they're poised to do it that way. Like they're poised to make Marvel repair itself. But until they actually do it, nothing's set in stone. So I'm kind of just I'm gonna just wait, I guess. But there's
we can do is wait.
But there's some possible replacements for Star Wars, like Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Simon Kinberg. I don't know Simon Kinberg, but Dave Filoni, I would not want to touch anything in Star Wars.
Filoni's a follower. He's a guy you want on your team, but you don't want the guy running the team.
Well, he's like responsible for Ahsoka, like the character being around.
No, George Lucas invented
Ahsoka. Being around longer than it was supposed to.
Because Ahsoka's a great character. I have no problem with that. She's one of the 5 most popular Star Wars characters in history.
Yeah, but not from the last movie or series. Or
well, the TV show sucked, and it sucked because Favreau did it by himself. Not Favreau, Filoni did it by himself because he's out at Star Wars, basically.
Yeah, my thing is Ahsoka to me is kind of like Korra from the Avatar series.
Yeah,
and she's an unlikable character.
But there's no sequel to The Last Airbender.
Well, that was the thing. The Korra show by itself.
There's the fanfic.
Like if they had never done Avatar the series, Korra would have been an okay show.
No.
The problem was Korra shit all over the ending of Avatar.
Well, there's that, but it's just she's not a likable character. Aang was always a likable character.
The world building is also bad.
The what?
She's not likable because how the world she's in and is a shit all over of the world Aang was building.
Well, I know, but I'm saying like in terms of she's like, I'm gonna be the strongest ever, and I'm gonna be like she's always like pumping herself up, not just like I have dreams of attaining, like going through a training regime.
But again,
a lot of doing everything really good and then becoming better. She's got like an attitude problem.
But we're judging her against
the villains are bad.
Huh?
Season 1 was basically just a civil rights analogy.
Yeah, and it's like it wasn't written to be an Avatar product. It wasn't written to be a follow-up. It wasn't even written to be a standalone. It was just written somebody who doesn't fully seem to understand the original, which I thought it was the same guys who did the original Avatar, so that doesn't make any sense on top of that.
Yeah, but they don't really. I think they accidentally made the first part good.
They tripped down some stairs and there's Korra.
Well, a lot of creators are like that. They make something that's great, and then they don't understand that you can't revisit. Like if you're gonna do a sequel, it better be a damn great sequel, or it better be like no disconnect, totally disconnected. Like
I don't see an excuse that is viable.
Disney has historically had a problem with this as well.
I mean, to be fair, everybody has a problem with sequels these days.
Then okay, that's fair.
But I'm saying like in terms of how people make a sequel, I cannot comprehend how it's possible for you to make a really good world with a lot of things making sense, going and making a sequel and making it just terrible comparative to what you originally made. Like, it should be very easy for you to just waltz right into the next one and make it really good.
But see, no,
I
that's
just-
that's incorrect, because you need to understand, if you write 10 things, right? You're a creator. You could say you're writing. If you're a creator and you create 10 things, odds are 9 of them are going to suck.
It's possible, yes, but what
That's
I'm
fair, yeah.
saying is that if you have a notorious hit, the only reason Korra even became a thing is because the original Avatar was successful. Korra would never have been a thing if it wasn't. It would have been a flop, and they probably wouldn't have continued it. But if you have something like that, you go over your material. You hire an autistic person, I guess, and just let them pour through it and say, does this make sense to the following of the fan and the comparisons and everything? And then they go through and they absolutely shred your writing, and then you take the pieces that survived and build something off of that, and then do it again. And you do it until you have something good. You don't just say, well, this is the best I could come up with in 30 minutes, so that's what we're going to run with, because that's a horrible idea. But Avatar didn't even need to have a sequel. It could have just...
because it was essentially a perfect ending, I would say.
If you were going to do a sequel to Avatar, it should have been hundreds and hundreds of years later.
with totally different characters, totally different
Or-
scenario, yada, yada, yada.
way in the past.
There's not much in the past, though.
Maybe it's
It
700
wouldn't be the last
years later,
Airbender if it was in the past.
and Slows
Yeah, no,
Thomas
but,
comes
you do
back.
a prequel.
We don't want prequels.
Wow.
Like,
I
well,
mean, you
here's a-
could, if you wanted to do a story about like a female avatar, you could just go with Kyoshi's story.
Or we could just not do any more with it and make a whole different
Yeah,
series.
no, I get that. It's
Just go way
preferable
forward,
to
you know,
not
like-
have anything.
like
But
it's
even if
800
you-
years
If you
later.
definitely did need to do something, don't make it a direct follow-up.
Maybe there's a massive volcanic eruption on Avatar
It
World,
kills everybody. Yes.
like a super volcano. And so the Avatar is a young female Avatar, and she has to help lead the world before she's ready to step up as the leader of the world. When she's still a teenager, she should step up and help alleviate the environmental disaster of the super volcano. That's
She
a
could
totally
be the
different
first
story.
ever volcano bender.
Well, that might be
No,
how
wait.
it ends, right?
That
That might be
already
how it
exists.
ends.
No, it doesn't. I don't know
Wow,
what you're
okay, fair
talking
enough. It doesn't, but it,
Like maybe her
maybe
story is
it's just
she has to go and
earthbending,
learn how
right?
to bend all the bending, so she could go and shut down the super volcano. You know?
Well, it'd be the first time you have like earth bending and fire bending melded into a single bender, and then you have like
Yeah.
water and earth blended together, and then air and fire blended together, and just like have like a
Well,
whole new
maybe-
blending.
Maybe
of...
she goes into the Avatar, and one of the ancient avatars says, like, I dealt with this, 3,000 years ago. I had to learn all these special skills to shut down the volcano or whatever.
I have a
could have been
special
interesting sequel.
set of skills.
Yeah.
I will find
Yeah,
you, and I will bend you.
The issue with doing a direct sequel that's immediately after the ending of the first one is that you essentially, in order to have conflict, need to undo almost
Oh yeah.
all the previous successes. So you essentially
You have to take a
destroy
giant
the
dump
original.
on the original.
Why do you think
get on
most fans of Naruto hate Boruto?
Yeah, no.
Well, yeah,
I
but
agree.
even Naruto to Boruto is just by definition an angst teenager. Not like Naruto was. Naruto wasn't an angst.
No, I mean
was a
I
totally
mean
different
the
style.
I don't mean the character. I mean
The whole show, yeah,
story.
I get that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the whole show is bad because the character's bad. That's my point. Like,
see, the
no,
kid-
I don't think
no.
that's
Boruto,
necessarily true.
if you
It's a
only watch the
combination of factors.
anime, I can understand the hatred for Boruto the character, because there's like 60 fucking episodes of filler where he's a horrible turd.
Naruto
Yeah.
is extremely notorious for filler.
By the time you get no, not like this. Okay, like the first couple episodes of Naruto, like most of the filler in the first 25 episodes of the original Naruto were flashbacks. Okay, in Boruto, the fight with Momoshiki in the manga happened in like issue 5. Okay, the fight with Momoshiki in the anime happened in episode 65.
Yeah.
They literally put a whole like year or two of Boruto being in the academy, bitching about his dad, whining about everything, being a total jerk and asshole, messing stuff up. And they did the moment in Boruto where his dad disqualifies him in the tuning exams. Instead of seeing like a tragedy there, you're like, Boruto fucking deserved it because of all the shit we saw in the anime. You know.
Yeah.
Whereas in the manga, you're like, okay, the kid's growing up and made a horrible mistake, and his dad's a Hokage. He has to show up, and he can't let his kid get away with it, you know. But then Boruto makes up for it in the rescue of his dad. That was a good story. The fucking anime shot all over Naruto, the series, by how do you put it, Sage? Destroying the ending of it. How you said it before?
You have to undo all the success of the first story.
Yeah. So all the world peace that Naruto and Sasuke achieved
Exactly.
by ending the conflict between the brothers, right? And preparing for the other Otsutsuki to come, because that was what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to be prepared with their power to repel the other Otsutsuki. Then they get nerfed, they get killed off, they kill off the tail beast, they introduce God knows what the hell they're doing with these like 10-tail fragment super power. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's a butcher.
Anyway,
it's a butchering of the
back to the possible replacements. So
I'm not particularly confident with Jon Favreau. I'm more confident with him than Dave Filoni by far, but Jon Favreau's the reason we have the Mandalorian not being about a bounty hunter doing bounty hunter thingies.
Well, the first two seasons of Mandalorian were really good.
No.
The majority of Star Wars fans disagree with you.
They are free to.
That's
they are
only the
wrong.
first season, though, right?
Because, here. I thought it was strange the first episode, and it took me literally like 0.003 seconds to figure this out when a blue fish-looking alien guy speaks freaking Jersey English.
Okay.
That's not how that works. Most aliens speak an alien tongue of some sort. This is literally just an American actor from Jersey, it seems, or maybe New York, and just sticking some prosthetic type things on top of him and then painting him blue and then saying, we have a new alien species.
Right. So the Star Trek methods.
Pretty much, yes. Now, Star Trek could potentially do the thing where, like, you know, everyone speaks a different language, but we have like an earpiece or something that lets us hear it in
the universal
English.
translator.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. So you have like a get me out of jail free card in that regard. Star Wars, they have access to that thing, but they don't utilize it like that because they have protocol droids and like stuff like that. Like that's C-3PO's gig, is he speaks all these different languages. Why would he speak all these languages if everybody could understand everybody? That literally defeats the entire purpose of him being there at all.
That's a nitpick.
It is a nitpick, but I'm a pedantic person. But that was just the first episode. But I was like, okay, let's say I completely forgive that and we move on. There was some action, we got some stuff, and it was great, more or less, up until Grogu comes into the picture. Grogu comes into the picture, and it's now a babysit film. This is literally all it is. It stopped being about a bounty hunter doing bounty hunts. It's not. It
was never about a bounty hunter doing bounty hunts.
Well, it's called The Mandalorian, and the whole thing was the Mandalorian coming in, and what a Mandalorians do in the particular situation they're in is they send people out to do hunts. They go get stuff, get the best car, bring it back.
That's Boba Fett.
You know, talking about the old Boba Fett or the current Boba Fett?
Current, probably.
Well, we have to leave aside.
The current Boba Fett wasn't a bounty hunter either. He was more like an overlord.
Old one is actually dead. He got eaten.
In the old EU, not all Mandalorians were bounty hunters.
He did not get eaten. If you have,
he did.
No, because there are some of us who have actually seen footage of him flying out of the Sarlacc pit.
Well, until you actually provide that footage for me to see.
I can't, but I definitely have not conspired with anybody, and I've seen other people post the exact same thing. So other people have seen that footage. Maybe we just got lucky and saw it. I don't know.
Well, in the old EU, Boba Fett eventually blasted his way out of it.
There's that too. But no, I've seen legitimate footage where he does his jetpack out of that Sarlacc pit. So I don't know what to tell anybody because I've searched and I have searched and I have searched for that. I think in the new EU
he crawled out of it, he climbed out of it, or something like that.
I think it's called the Mandela effect or something. But there's a large portion of people. I consider it large anyway. It's more than like 20 people. There's hundreds of people who have seen that exact same scene happen on a video somewhere. I just don't know where it happened or anything. I saw it.
It could be a fan film.
No, I wouldn't have access to it because I don't watch fan films. It was like either on an official like disc that somebody owned at their house, and I watched it. But this was like back in the day. But point being, I saw it. Other people saw it. Whatever. So Boba Fett's not technically dead, speaking wise. But he was
never dead in Legends.
Well, I know we're talking about when he got eaten in Return of the Jedi.
He was never dead there.
He didn't get eaten by a Sarlacc pit?
He got out.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Legends, in one of the novels, he literally shot his way out of it.
I know, but we're not talking about the novels. We're talking about the actual movie, Return of the Jedi. He got eaten, and then there's nothing left of him. Like it's just
there may have been a
on.
cut. No. In Return of the Jedi, he just goes in the Sarlacc pit. It can't dissolve his armor.
It can dissolve him inside of the armor.
It can't get his armor. His armor is like a spacesuit.
That's true.
He would die from lack of oxygen or food or water before it would, and then his armor would just sit there with a dead body forever.
So what you're saying is he's dead in the Sarlacc pit.
So what happened is in one of the novels, I don't remember which one. In one of the novels, he because it couldn't penetrate his armor, he had time to basically just use his like arm blaster to blow a hole in the side of it and eventually get out of it.
I'm all for that, but my point is that I saw visual footage of it from the movie Return of the Jedi.
Well, it's not in the original. There may have been like a.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know where it came from or anything, but I have seen that footage built into the full Return of the Jedi movie. I don't know how. I don't know where. I have seen it. I have looked online. Other people have seen it. I've never.
There was no official cut of Return of the Jedi where that happened.
Not that I can find. No, but maybe
there's
none out there.
On any release.
You can't say there is none because we don't know. It's not falsifiable.
Yeah, it is because we know all the official releases of Return of the Jedi.
Well, if I've seen it on an official release, then that doesn't make any sense.
You may have seen it as edited footage on a disc.
It was a disc, literally from something you could go to the store and purchase. So I don't know what to tell you.
There may have been.
You might think that there's one in like 100 bazillion. It wasn't my disc. I wasn't old enough to own that, but yes.
There may have been on one of the official releases bonus alternative visual recordings.
I've looked online. Nobody has seen they can't find a disc that has that on that, but people have verified that they have themselves seen that exact instance. That's the whole Mandela effect thing. Like a bunch of us have seen it happen, but don't know where it is.
I'm not saying the footage of this. I'm saying in all the official versions of the movie release, that scene did not occur.
I know, but I'm saying there is no footage, period, fan film or otherwise. There's no footage anywhere that we can find now, but we have verifiably seen it. We don't know how.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying, just because you saw it and we know it's not an official take.
It may have made it onto one and was not intended to be released or something. But it was on a disc of Return of the Jedi. That's all I can say for sure, because I didn't watch it any other way.
It's a meaningless scene because it's not canon.
Well, if it's in the video.
It's in none of the official releases. The official canon found Boba Fett got out.
What do you consider an official release? Something that's made it onto a disc and was put out into the open?
Well, whatever the owner of Star Wars puts out as a release.
And if he puts one out and that one happens to have this footage on it, would it consider to be canon?
Well, none of the official releases.
I'm not saying whether you think that any of the official releases did it. I'm saying if that was to happen, would that be considered canon?
If the current
it would fall completely in line with the Legends thing that you'd have
to re-edit the movie, okay, to include that scene. If they just threw it into to a bonus add-on
if it was acted out, no, you wouldn't, because it was already there.
If you go to some of the versions of Star Wars, some of the discs, Blu-rays and DVDs, you can get bonus scenes that were edited out.
Now, the thing is that were they edited out because they didn't have time, or were they edited out because they decided not to do it?
It doesn't matter. It's only if they're edited
out.
It
does because. If by that example, Lord of the Rings Extended Edition is not canon.
Well, it's not canon because it's not the book.
No, I'm saying it wasn't canon because it wasn't in the theatrical.
It's canon to the Extended Edition, not to the theatrical edition.
That's okay.
So it would be different canon.
It's something that was not in the original and is now in
The
it.
original was the book.
The original is the book, yeah.
No, I'm talking about the original movies.
Yeah, but the movies are based on the book. They don't have their own separate canon.
I know that. I'm not saying
No, no,
everything
no.
in the movies
There's-
is canon. I'm saying the canon that was presented when when Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King came out.
That's only for those 3 movies, though.
It would be those 3 movies. What was released is the canon of those movie adaptations. The
That's-
extended
that's the
come out like a
theatrical.
director's cut, and then that
That's the
director's cut.
theatrical canon. Then there's the extended edition canon.
But it wouldn't be extended edition canon. It would be.
Yes, it would be, because
What would
those
it be
the
then?
extended editions are different movies.
They're not different movies. One
They
just
are.
has.
We don't really have the exact
the-
same run length as the original at the theatricals.
We're not talking the run length. We're saying the content. All of the
Does that have the exact same
all of
content?
the theatrical content is in the extended edition.
So
So if I was to cut out all the extended edition stuff, it would be the theatrical. It's not a different
so-
film in terms
So-
of the original
It is a
content.
different film.
In terms of the original content. The original content
There is
is
no
the
original
original
content in either movie.
Oh my gosh. Listen, Matt. Listen. The theatricals are the original Lord of
No,
the
the
Rings
original is the book.
movies. You're not even letting me finish what I'm
right, but then
saying
the
before you
extended
jump
edition
in.
is the original extended Lord of the Rings movies.
But it's not, because if it was an original, it wouldn't have the similarities to the original theatrical. Original does not mean copy-paste or utilizing the entirety of a prior to add to it. That's not
So
how
the-
original works.
So therefore, none of the movies are original because only the book is the original.
No, I said it's the original Lord of the Rings theatrical movies. The
And
movies.
we also have a separate original Lord of the Rings extended movies.
You said it was an original. It's not an original. It utilizes
is.
the entirety of the theatrical.
So
It's not original if it uses the other stuff. It's original if it doesn't include the other stuff.
It's not original to
The
begin with.
extended aspects are original because they're not in the theatrical. But if you add the theatrical in with the other extended stuff, it's not original. It's an addition to. And they're all original when it comes to the movies. It's not original compared to the books. It's original compared to the movies. For example, let's say, hypothetically speaking, George Lucas pre-wrote a Star Wars trilogy of books prior to releasing the movies.
sure.
The movies are originals as movies. The books would be original as books.
Well, okay, here's an good example.
They
So,
can be
then-
different from each other and be
Yes,
originals.
they could be.
They
Did
could be
Han
the
shoot-
same and be
Did Han
originals.
shoot first? Did Han shoot first?
Yes.
Yes and no. There's 2 different continuities.
No, there's only yes.
In one continuity, Han shot first.
He's a
and I'll go with
scumbag.
you.
It's too difficult to say he didn't. He cares too much
Well-
about his life for that.
Well, George Lucas re-edited the movie, so he didn't shoot first. So that makes 2 different continuities.
Right, but would the new release then not be the original because it's actually the previous one that got cut up and re-edited or whatever?
It wouldn't be an original because it's using that scene. It's not a new scene entirely.
No, that's not what I mean.
That's what I mean.
Where do you start the original label?
Everywhere but the trigger pull. I don't know why he changed that, because it's like we already know he's a scumbag, so like that's his thing. Whatever.
Yeah, no, but let's say you had let's go back to the Lord of the Rings because it has the extended as a different version, right?
It has the original
If-
and the original plus. Yes.
If the original idea, let's say,
I
was
completely agree that the original plus is way better than the original, for sure. But it's
yeah,
still
but
an
let's
original
say
plus.
you film everything.
I don't, but that's just a whole separate thing.
We have the extended version.
You don't think the extended edition is better than the original theatrical?
Depends on which one.
all of the stuff that I dislike about the
there's
movies.
some
gets
not
made worse
great
by the
stuff,
extended.
I think in the third one.
Mm. The Return of the King. You forgot the name of it.
No, I just said the
Now
third
the best
one.
of the EEs is the 2 Towers.
It's
But-
easier to say third than the Return of
You
the
you
King.
could say the Two Towers is more accurate to the books than the other ones, perhaps. But I'm saying as movies entirely on their own, they're better.
I'm not saying
by
it's
the
more
extended.
accurate. None of them are terribly accurate to the books.
No.
But,
I said more accurate. I didn't say accurate. I said more
Yeah.
accurate. So it's closer to the source
Well, no,
material rather than the other two.
the additions in the Two Towers is more of stuff that is enjoyable, like extended battle scenes and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I find all three of them enjoyable, regardless. But
I'm not saying they're not enjoyable. I'm saying the reason I tend not to watch the E's is because all the things that annoy the fuck out of me in terms of changes from the book get made worse in the E's.
I mean,
Like I can watch the
That-
theatrical
that will
version.
probably bother you, yes. But when I'm saying, like, if I was to watch the theatricals and I was watch the extendeds, the
Extended
enjoyment from the
fellowship
extendeds will
is
be greater than that
fine.
of just the theatrical.
I think. I don't think there's anything controversial, let's say, in the extended version of the Fellowship.
I mean, no,
Two
Tom Bombadil's
Towers.
pretty,
No, but that's not part of the original or
It is part of the original
the
source
original
material.
extended.
Hey. I mean,
Well,
there's a lot of stuff like the time stamp of when things happened is not particularly
Yeah,
well
okay, but
history.
that is not that big of a deal, to be honest.
I mean, you could argue none of this is that big of a deal for the extendeds in general.
but let's get back to our original topic.
Sure.
So
Well,
of
let's
those three
jump
guys,
in.
the least
Oh,
worst
yeah,
of
yeah.
would be Favreau, and the worst of would be.
Well, I feel
Filoni.
like there's a name, and I don't know what the name is, but there was another name that was put up there with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, and he apparently
So Simon Kinberg, it says he did the X-Men. Do
Yeah,
we know which one?
no.
But remember, this is probably the writer. This is the writer.
There's
putting
another
it
name
forth.
I can't think of that is somebody who has a positive, like no one's like, oh, I hear that name and I'm just want to vomit or anything. Like they have, I don't know who it was. Star Wars Theory talks about him all the freaking time, and even Ryan Cannell and Mahler like the guy. So I was like, that would be the optimal person to do it if that was the case. The problem is people change, so I can't even tell anymore whether or not any of the people that would be good back a decade or so ago.
Okay, so he did
I don't see.
X-Men: The Last Stand, X-Men: First Class,
I didn't
Days of
watch-
Future Past,
I think I watched First Class. maybe?
Apocalypse,
He did all the new X-Men
and
probably.
Dark
then.
Phoenix. So he did
All the
new
reset
ones.
X-Men.
Dark Phoenix is horrible though.
Yeah.
Kennedy's departure comes just months before Star Wars Celebration Tokyo, because the Japanese give a crap about Kathleen Kennedy. In April 2025, reports
Actually, wait,
suggest
I don't think I've ever seen Dark Phoenix.
it's bad. Reports suggest that the major announcements about Lucasfilm's future, including potential successor, could be made at the event. Andor Season 2 also premieres on April 22nd, 2025, and Ahsoka Season 2 is in the works. Andor might be good. I don't know. I didn't watch the first season, but I've heard decent things by people like Mahler, and I tend to respect Mahler's opinion on those kind of things. But we're going to wait for the official confirmation and whatnot, but I don't know. I mean,
We'll know until we get there.
I feel like it's a ploy, personally. I could definitely be wrong, and I'm completely fine with being wrong if it gets her out of without power. But I'm not thrilled about virtually anything with her.
Well, I'm
involved.
black-pilled on Star Wars, so
Yeah, I suppose.
the only good thing in Ahsoka was when they did the flashback to little kid Ahsoka, and she actually moved like the character, and you realized the little kid must have watched the show, whereas the adult actors never bothered, apparently.
Yeah. Now for our next trick. The wonderful Fantabulosity. There we go. It takes so long for things to work the way I need them to. All right, so our last topic, and as we've been talking about Star Wars and Disney, let's talk about reasons to get rid of Disney, even though it might be fixed. Who knows?
Do you even need a reason at this point?
Yes. I need a reason to cancel Disney Plus because I need to add it to the other reasons I have to cancel Disney.
Because I said so. There's your reason. Because Matt said so.
No, that's not a reason.
That's the bottom line.
That's not the bottom line. Alrighty. This was requested at the behest of the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Many months ago, in passing, I said,
Oh, this is the guy who did that horrible video on
and it was unscripted. And I'm pretty sure it was during my Acolyte coverage. Star Wars The Acolyte was actually my catalyst to start making content on this channel. See, like many, I was just a quiet consumer. I would watch Star Wars and Marvel and Disney movies, and I'd complain about how awful they were, but I didn't have a following or an audience to speak to. And then The Acolyte happened. And I hated that show so much that I put on a dollar store wizard outfit and started making videos. In all my years of making content, I never wanted to do this long-form video thing or the YouTube thing, the scripting your video.
There's no other way to do YouTube. Long-form is the future.
Videos and learning how to do sensory overload editing. But that was before.
I sadly have never figured out how to do that because I can't comprehend any of it at all.
Or The Acolyte. And so a catchphrase for this channel has remained, even well past Acolyte discussions. Cancel Disney Plus. So here are 5 good reasons why you should cancel Disney Plus. Let's go.
Number 1, if you don't cancel a T1000, I'm going to kill you.
I thought that's Carl Benjamin's new channel, right?
Which one?
The Pondering.
Is it? I haven't been keeping up with that, so maybe not. I don't know.
And welcome to The Pondering. I am the real-life fake wizard. If this video brings you any value at all, consider subscribing to the channel. And if it doesn't bring you any value, hit the little dislike button. That actually helps. You know, back in 2019, Disney CEO Bob Iger published a book discussing
its interaction, so yes.
All his greatest accomplishments. At the time, he was retiring from Disney and was allegedly getting ready to run for political office. But then the panda virus happened and Disney fell apart. To this day, Disney's future is still...
You know, it's ironic. I've never heard it called the panda virus before.
Still on the rocks, having had an awful box office year in 2023. They bounced back in 2024, but things don't look so promising right now here in 2025. Now, in this book, he reveals
Aquafina. Oh my gosh, that's so bad.
I forgot about that scene.
The Aquafina.
A lot. I'd say he actually revealed too much. Probably way too much.
Ironically, she was in the film The Bad Guys, and my kid loves that film. It's a really interesting and well animated film for the style it is, and it was actually a very good film. And Aquafina was in it, but she wasn't obnoxious, so I'll take it.
I don't believe that.
There were.
I would recommend watching it. Inquisitor Doman recommends The Bad Guys, and the second one's coming out too, so hopefully the second one's good too. But
were a lot of things he thought that would happen that never happened. Iger described that he believed the future of Disney was based in 3 things: making high-quality branded content, investing in new technology, and growing globally. And we could break down his choices over the years, and they really do all...
That's what he claimed, yes.
All fit that.
What's his background music?
That's like claiming that the future of bread is in flour, milk, and eggs or whatever. I mean, of course the future... That's such a generic bullshit.
Matt just got triggered hard. It's like, flour, eggs, of course.
If that's the bullshit Iger put in his book, I'm glad I never read it.
But you just did.
All the franchise and company acquisitions, all the investments into foreign markets, and then, of course, talk about new technology. He's not talking about the Disney parks per se, he's talking about Disney Plus, the ultimate new technology. And even in the book, he'd go on to say that building Disney Plus was part of his more or less endgame, and that it would take some time before it would be successful. Quote, it would take...
I don't know. Maybe.
Take some time before success would be measured in profits. First, it would be measured in subscribers. We wanted the service to be accessible.
I think so, yes.
To as many people as possible around the world. And we had settled on a price that we estimated would bring in somewhere between 60 and 90 million subscribers in the first 5 years. So that was the metric of success back in 2019. And that's not to say at all that his autobiography would be defined as fact or etched in stone. He also said Star Wars was supposed to get a movie every 2 years. Like, forever. And we haven't gotten a film in 5 years that hit theaters.
Damn.
Yub nub, am I right?
Yub nub. Yub yub jib wub.
Why did he get Chewbacca to show up for his
Okay,
show?
I can hear you already. Just get to the 5 reasons, and I promise I'm getting there. I'm just trying to explain why it's important to have the 5 reasons. Disney Plus is their final frontier. It's their golden goose. It's Disney's way of getting the one thing that's more important than your money: your time. Social media networks and video platform aggregates like Netflix and YouTube and Disney Plus thrive on the consumption of not just your subscription dollars, but your time and minutes watched. Why is that, you might ask?
I like how the talking remote forces you to look at sex education.
That's the British TV show that Scooty Gatwa was on before he was a doctor.
Oh, so it was terrible is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
I don't know. I know swords.
I mean, Shooty Got wasn't it? What do you expect? Quality?
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
It's for ads.
I mean, there's definitely going to be gay stuff in it, but no freaking quality.
Yeah, it's
sure,
but
Disney Plus.
But it's a woke show for woke people, so I don't care about that.
I do. It exists.
No, the woke people have their own shows. As long as they're, I don't care about that.
I do.
Okay. So is this reason 1? Ads?
No, this is how video platform works.
Okay.
Follow along.
Plus didn't launch with ads, but that was always going to be where they went. Look, with any of these streaming platforms, there is only so many people who can sign up for the platform. And once the platform reaches a peak...
The max population on the planet.
No, you can have multiple accounts per person.
They don't really have a reason to do that, though.
Yeah, no, that's true, but there's technically no maximum.
Feasibly speaking.
If 300,000 people...
there is a maximum because there's only so much wealth on the planet, so there is a feasible
If 300,000 people between the age of 130 and 140 could collect Social Security, you could have multiple.
With subscribers, how
and I
else
guess
is
you
the
can get the
platform
USA
going to financially grow? This is a publicly traded company. You must continue to show financial growth. And that's where the advertisements come in. We actually learned about this years ago on Facebook, of all places. In 2018, Facebook hit a peak where they were all around the world, and then investors realized
this is from when you still look like a lizard,
all the people on the planet who can join the platform are already on Facebook, or they're never going to join
it's
Facebook.
Less visible
Interesting.
Now.
That means these online platforms have a limit for how many people that can join.
Less so.
It's not like gigabyte limit or server space. You could just run out of people on the planet. So you look at Disney Plus, and it's starting to see that subscriber growth is beginning to cap out. Meaning they're starting to hit the plateau for how many people can join or even want to join Disney Plus. It's a little different from Facebook, certainly. Facebook is free, Disney Plus is not. And Disney Plus doesn't exactly appeal to everyone. Even Netflix is more generalized for content than Disney Plus is. It's part of the reason why they needed to acquire.
I like how the Kardashians is on there as like a reason to want to watch anything Disney. It's like, if anything, that's a terrible reason.
No, that's not a reason to go have Disney Plus. That's if you have Disney Plus, go look at this.
Yeah, and that's
that's
a reason to cancel it.
They shot themselves in the foot though with Disney Plus another way. They didn't merge ESPN into it. Like, ESPN's a separate streaming service, and if you really, really want to maximize your audience, you have one streaming service for your entire company.
Well, they're also trying to utilize the power of multiple brands. So if you don't like Disney but you like Hulu, you'll get Hulu. You're still supporting Disney.
Well, Hulu is a problem because it's like I think Disney still owns the majority of it now, and Comcast is getting ready to buy out of it legally. It's a competitor, so they can't just fold it in once they own it.
I would like to point out that the bottom left there, Bluey, is the only reason most people have Disney Plus.
Most people.
Most people.
Sure?
Because most people have children when they have Disney.
And they only watch that.
Bluey is one of the few things that both adults and children can enjoy. I vouch for it. 3 seasons, freaking good. It's done, but it's something that if there was no Bluey on Disney Plus, I can't imagine people watching Disney Plus. There's just not enough good content on Disney Plus for people to watch things like that. Because you can go for how much money you spend on a subscription to Disney Plus.
Didn't they also take off all the old Disney stuff?
No, I think it's still
they put all the old Disney stuff on there. They just have like warnings, content warnings, and stuff in front of them and
No,
everything.
I read something, an article last year that they want to start rotating the old content.
that would immediately kill.
I don't know anything about that, but I don't know why you would do that, because the only reason people are going to come there to begin with is for that content. But if you're paying, I don't even know what these subscriptions
Yeah, maybe
are.
that's the idea though. People want to see that, and if you rotate it, they need to stay subscribed essentially if they're not smart.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, is that I can go down to like a half price books, which is a cool little place I have around here that I can go to, and buy a DVD or a Blu-ray of the exact same content of the original content, not have warnings in front of it. I can watch it whenever I want, as many times as I want, without having to pay a monthly subscription, and probably costs half of the subscription that you get. Oh, we lost Matt.
That's true. But at some point they might stop producing those.
No. Whether or not they can be completely not produced. There's just a huge used market for it. So like I can go there and I can find probably like 20 Toy Story movies in there, and I could pay $4 or $5 to get a really limited edition special version of it because it just happens to be there. Pull it off the shelf, pay $4. I've already got what I want out of that. And if I go and I buy like let's say every month I went there and I bought something. Oh, Matt's back in. Welcome back, Matt.
Yeah, fucking. The one problem with doing it on the phone is if you get too close to the screen, it accidentally presses shit.
Yeah, done that before. But I have a way around that personally, but that's a different story. But no,
add it to your phone, it'll never do it to you again. It's like
basically. But no, like you can go and buy something, and if I spend all year and I go and I buy piece after piece after piece of things, content that I want my kids to watch, and I can just have it. I can pop it in a DVD, or I could download the digital version of it from the disc, like burn it onto a digital copy or something, throw it on a server, and then have my kids all watch that server stuff without having to use a disc. And I could watch it on the road. I could watch it on a tablet. I could watch it wherever I want to, all without having to pay more Disney subscriber stuff. Like it's so easy to put aside Disney Plus if you do that. Granted, most of the subscribers they have are through phone companies that give you a free subscription for a year. So it's not even like people are paying for a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of subscribers that aren't paying. They just have it. Now, I could see two arguments. One argument being, I'm not paying for it, so why would I cancel it? I can utilize it for my kids or whatever until I don't want to anymore. Two, there's all bad stuff. I got it for free, and I'm going to cancel it because out of the sheer principle of the thing. Like I refuse to watch it regardless. But I don't know if you've already have the subscription, if you can cancel it, where the cancel would take effect immediately, as much as if it's like a year subscription through like Verizon or AT&T or whatever.
I think it's monthly, but
no,
because
no. If you were to actively go and pay for Disney Plus subscription, it would be a month-to-month basis, or you could buy like a year thing, but you could cancel it and get paid backwards. But if you're getting a free version of it, it's a year. Like you're getting the whole year. You're not getting it in months. So if you cancel, you're canceling at the end of the year.
But then why
still
cancel? Because you didn't pay for it.
But that's my point, is that you could do it out of sheer principle to not give them the viewing count. I could see that being an argument. I'm pretty sure that's the argument he's making. But for people with children, that's not going to happen. They're going to utilize that free account to get as much as they could out of it.
I don't think the
don't
viewing numbers really matter all that much.
Well, the viewing plus all the ads, yes.
Oh, the ads, of course.
Yeah.
Ad block?
It might work on certain things, but you're not going to be able to do that on your TV.
Fair enough.
And the TVs where most people watch this stuff, or a tablet.
Yeah, just get a computer and hook it up to your TV screen.
If you get an app, like a Disney Plus app, you're going to have to get whatever they put in it. I don't think any way to go about that through the app. There's no way to block the apps or block the ads in the app. You can open up a browser like Brave browser or something, and that might block ads, or it might be imprinted into the actual film itself.
You'd have to do something hacky like block the ads from coming into your network to begin with.
Yeah, I
But
think you can
that's
do
what I'm saying, though, is that
but
they
that's not really something most people
I
can do.
think that if they were trying to prevent ads from being bypassed, they would bake them into the actual content. I don't know how they would do that with people paying once or twice or whatever, and they don't constantly do it. Like if it gets a different ad, I don't know how you could bake that into it, but they probably have some way they try to bake it into it. So even if you have an ad blocker, it's like it's part of the film. I don't know. There's ways they could probably do it. I don't want to give them any ideas, so I'm not going to keep throwing out possibilities. But
yeah, but if you want an ad blocker, you can do that technically through your network/router settings. You need some technical knowledge, of course.
But you could always find somebody to do it for you. But my thing is
it's
more
it's an option.
If you're paying for it, you have a reason to cancel Disney Plus because it'll take effect basically at that month. Like that's your last month or whatever, and you get pro bonos back or whatever. If you're getting it for free, you have two options. You can keep using it because it's free, and it doesn't matter because you got it for free. So they're not getting money from you, but they are getting views. Or you could say, I'm not going to utilize it, period. I'm going to cancel it, which both of them, in the free sense, would be the end of the year. So they have you for a full year anyway. But you refuse to actually give them the view time. So I'm assuming he's more of don't even give them the view time mentality. I struggle with the idea that parents will do that. Excuse me. Because parents are like, I can keep my kids entertained and do stuff, blah, blah, blah. Why am I going to remove that one feature? And without going out and buying an entire library physical.
Yeah,
now,
but also
I would argue just go get physical because physical's better regardless. But,
yeah, physical is always better, but there's other services out there. Like odds are, if your parents, you have Amazon Prime, that's a ton of children's content on there.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of stuff you like. There's no way for you to go through and click on things and say, I'm okay with my kid watching this. I'm not okay with my kid watching this. And then letting your kid be able to go into the kid version of it. And then they can access all the stuff you said is okay, but not access the stuff that's not okay. They don't have parental controls because they don't believe in parental rights. So that's a different story.
Okay.
No, you can never look. Maybe I'm old school with this, but if you have a kid, you should never put them in front of the streaming box and let them go.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't, but a lot of parents do. That's my point.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's no other option because you got things you have to do, or you're dealing with other kids.
But again, I maybe because I grew up this way. Like when I wasn't allowed to watch TV, I was told, you're not watching TV. If I catch you watching TV, it's going to be a problem. So I would read a book or something, or go outside or whatever it was.
Yeah, but it was also safer back then.
No, it wasn't safer. It just wasn't.
It's safer. It's definitely safer. But my point is that parents are going to do it, and most of them can be horrible parents. Some of them can be good parents, but some of them can be horrible parents. Most probably be horrible parents, and they just plop them in front of a TV or a tablet or whatever to keep them occupied because the world has changed. It's not the way it used to be. Blah blah blah. Now you could always just unhook like a Fire Stick or block the apps or something. There's ways to get around it. The problem is that realistically speaking, the entire point of cartoons and the stuff that we grew up when we were growing up, it was a form of entertainment that was wholesome, obviously to a certain extent. Watership Down, anyone? But yeah, there was
Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah. Things that you should not show your kids, but you accidentally did anyway. That was me with Watership Down. My uncle's like, "Hey, this is a bunch of rabbits in it. This could be really adorable." And then
I read the book for Watership Down before I ever saw the movie.
Well, yes, but my uncle did not. He just rented it.
When I was a kid, I was like, I think 7 when I read Watership Down, maybe 8.
I was young, and all my cousins were young, and we all sat down in front of this thing, watched this, and started watching rabbits tear out each other's throats and stuff. It was very interesting. But the point being is that also people who are like, I don't want my kid to sit in front of a tablet, I don't want to sit them in front of the TV, blah, 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 blah. There's no ultimate way for them to stop them from getting on there, because a kid will eventually become smart enough to know how to plug in an Amazon Fire or how to access a computer and go to a website, log in with the information or whatever, if it's built into it, and then just access the content. Like,
just don't give them a password.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's just built in passively, like you just have it always remember the password or whatever. But besides that, maybe you write it on a password book. They find the password book. They find the password. Like, I was a kid. I was a young kid once, believe it or not, and I've always found ways to get around what my parents told me not to do. They said, you can't be on the computer while we're gone. As soon as they were out of the door, I was on the computer. Because telling your kid not to do something does not mean they're not going to do it. Now, well-behaved ones would probably not do it, but they could still have moments of weakness. But my point is that no matter what you do, there's no way to ultimately
I don't consider that weakness, to be honest.
You don't think it's a weakness to do something?
I don't think it's a weakness to avoid going to use the computer.
Well, it's a weakness because it means you're not a good boy or a good girl. But that's a different story. Anyway, I don't think this plan will ultimately work in the way that I think he wants it to work. I think it's an ideal situation that the way he wants it to work, and I agree with him on that. I just don't think it's realistically feasible to get it to happen the way he wants it to happen.
Well, we already know his mentality from the other video clips that we did.
Yeah, and I find that I agree very heavily with pretty much all the stuff he already did. So, I mean, it is what it is.
So the funnel for subscriber growth is already smaller if you're Disney Plus. This is why we continue to see the price of Disney Plus increasing. Every 6 months, every 8 months, oh, the Disney price went up again. They're doing this for a few reasons. One, it's to make more money, sure, obviously. But also, two, it's to manipulate you to lower your subscription down to the ad tier. See, Disney has already admitted that ad tier subscribers are worth more than non-ad tier subscribers. If you watch ads, you're worth more to the company. And when we look at their reporting, after all these years of increasing the price, 37% of all United States users opt for the ad tier, but across the board, globally, 30% of all global users opt for the ad tier. It's a good percentage of people, considering everyone was at 0% of ads just 5 years ago.
Which is an interesting thing to look at, and I don't know. It's many things go wrong with the revenue.
It works probably from a business perspective, but it is kind of shitty practice.
Yeah. All right. So let's try this again, since I am lacking all my concepts.
Because there were none. Something else to note, in recent earnings calls, Bob made the mistake of revealing that 60% of all new subscribers are ad tier users, meaning that the price is so...
I mean, they didn't want to pay the extra price to get not ads. And it's the same problem with like Amazon Prime, is because you pay to not get ads, and then they're like, we're going to add an ad tier into your paid version. And then they shifted it, so like, well, if you don't want to get ads...
You did specifically pay to not get ads. You pay to get access to the stuff.
The majority of Amazon people on Amazon Prime don't have it for media content.
Shipping. Because they box it all together, which is stupid. They should just do it individually, but whatever. They have whatever they want to do with their own money. But if you're paying for something, like I'm actively paying for something, excuse me, whoo, that came out of nowhere. Then you don't, like, yes, I want to watch ads. No, nobody's asking for the ads. So then you go in and you're like, okay, well, what do I need to do to not get ads? Well, we want you to pay us more than you're already paying us to get access to stuff. I'm like, but I wasn't even paying you for this to begin with. I was paying you for the shipping costs. And now you're telling me that I have to pay you.
Yeah, so you pay for the shipping costs and you just get free video stuff with ads.
Yes, but they also increased the costs of Prime. I went from like 100 to like 125 or $130 a year.
But if you don't use Prime Video, then
it stays the same. The price does not change.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon Prime, the primary thing is to get you to take advantage of the shipping and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's a very good deal because you'll spend more than $100 or $200 of shipping on Amazon throughout the year. So
between the shipping and the extra discounts you get.
Well, it depends on how much you order.
Well, you should order like that.
We order things all the time here. Like it's
and
just,
Amazon Prime in the U.S.
Okay,
well,
sure.
Can't answer for other countries, but in the U.S. is pound for pound the best thing you can spend your money on in terms of getting.
You have no alternatives.
He means dollar to dollar, but yes.
Yeah. There's nothing that will provide as much of an economic advantage to its Amazon Prime, so long as you use it.
Like they literally created their own entire delivery system, so they didn't have to go through UPS or FedEx to do that.
Yeah, but there's no alternatives, right?
Nothing like Amazon Prime. There's things that do part of it, like you can get grocery deliveries from other services and whatever.
You can get grocery deliveries from freaking Amazon, for crying out loud now.
Yeah,
but like
the point that everything is built into it, and so they build in. They put so much stuff into it that, like, for example, there's a service called Grubhub, which like is delivery of like fast food. Well, now if you have Amazon Prime, you get Grubhub for free.
Yeah, but no, like it's like if you're coming up with something like eBay does a similar concept, but they don't have like own warehouses and all that jazz. But
yeah, but eBay is more like it's a second-hand market thing, right?
Yes, but you could technically sell brand new stuff on there too.
Well, Amazon has their own eBay too.
What?
Amazon has their own eBay-like service.
Oh,
what's it called?
I guess eBay.
I've never heard of it.
You can just post your used goods on Amazon.
Well, yeah, you can do that, but normally when I think used goods, I don't go to Amazon. I go to eBay.
Well, I check both out.
Well, because Amazon has freaking like a whole bunch of stuff where they have posts, but it's all not available. It's like, why the frick do I want to go here?
Oh, yeah,
it's all unavailable when I could go to eBay. And if it's available, there's no page for it. Like it's gone. So I know that if I'm looking for something, it's there, or at least you have a much like a 90%.
Yeah, but eBay is only going to have that stuff. It's not the point of it. Just to keep it simple is Amazon has made Amazon has made Amazon Prime dollar for dollar more valuable than anything else you could spend.
Yeah, that
is $130 on.
It is more valuable. I was responding to is there any other alternatives? Now, I don't think there are alternatives because nobody is able to really start it up. And this is a problem with the economy in general, is that if you try to start a business and a bigger company doesn't like that your competition trying to start up and you could potentially overthrow their power, they're going to try to use whether it be political power or just destroy you with pricing differences, because you can do that. You can be like a Walmart and go out there and just drop prices on things to the point where mom and pop shops can't keep up with you and they eventually go out of business. You could just wipe out your opposition that way. There's too many ways to stifle you where you're just like, I want to start up a new company. You have to start out as a huge company in order to even get there. You can't just start out as a small mom and pop shop because you'll never have the exponential growth now that you would have maybe 50, 60 years ago.
Well, you'll still get small companies that advance, but remember, every company that advances, even
freaking Walmart,
even more true today.
Walmart was paying for Kmart and Sears, because owned by the same people, was paying for Kmart to stay open as a competitor so they didn't get hit as a monopoly. And then when Target showed up out of nowhere, they dropped Kmart because, hey, at least Target's standing on their own. We don't have to pay for them to succeed.
And well, an example of a company that is close to being able to do what Amazon does is Walmart. Walmart will probably be another maybe 5-10 years. Walmart will be able to feel like Walmart Prime or whatever.
Walmart's not big enough. It's huge. Yet. It's not big enough.
Not yet, but another also, 5 or 10 years.
The only thing that I think Walmart might have better than Amazon is their logistics team. Their logistics team is freaking top tier. Their actual stores and stuff, not so much, but they even have stuff like that where you can go to a Walmart, order stuff, and have it delivered to there, and you can just go over and pick it up type of thing. You could technically have it delivered as well, but it costs a bit more to do that. I don't think they're in a position where they can do that.
That's why I said 5 to 10 years.
I don't even think in 50 years they'd have that, because they'd have to do, like, Amazon doesn't have a bunch of brick and mortar places. Walmart does.
They do.
No. Amazon has warehouses. They don't have like.
Well, they have a supermarket and everything.
Well, if they have a
what
supermarket,
the hell is it called?
That's a very specific thing, because Walmart has the neighborhood market, which is a food only. There's no electronics, no toys, no sports, no nothing. It's just food. But
I forgot the name of the supermarket. But when you order food on Amazon, you get it. There's two ways you can get it. You can either get it directly through Amazon or through the Amazon supermarket. I forget what it was called, but they're all over the place. It was a supermarket chain.
I've not seen any of those chains anywhere near where I'm at, but
it's an established brand.
I'm not saying
no,
that
it's not called Amazon. It's like it's an established brand. I just forget which one it is.
Well, regardless, that's a brick and mortar store of a particular topic, not a particular like overall. Plus, they bought something that's established as opposed to something that they had to build up themselves, which costs more money in direct input, startup costs and stuff. But the point is that Walmart has a ton of Walmarts all over the globe, as far as I'm aware. Just at least, and like they're all over the globe, not necessarily in every country, but all over the globe in general. And they have a really good logistics team to get things where they need to go, to restock and all that jazz pretty consistently. They have some sort of a contract with people to come in and out and do the stuff for them, like companies that deal with drinks or farm foods and stuff like cabbage, lettuce, tomatoes, that kind of stuff, where they come in, they do that stuff themselves, where Walmart doesn't have to actually do it. So they have like a constant every day. You got the milkman showing up to restock the milk take out the expired, put the good stuff in, yada yada yada. That happens all the time without them having to do anything. Amazon, as far as I'm aware, maybe aside from the grocery store aspect of it, they don't have that kind of a thing. They have warehouses, and they apparently have a grocery chain. That's what Amazon has. They just made a fleet to be able to send things out themselves without using UPS or FedEx, because it used to be UPS. UPS lost a lot of business off of that, I guess. I don't know. But there's a massive difference between Walmart and Amazon in the entirety. Amazon is definitely much bigger. I don't think Walmart has any hopes or dreams of going that big, because they still get the common folk anyway. That's just how they don't need to be Amazon to survive. Granted, if there was an opposition to Amazon, that would help, but we're talking somebody who can do all the things that Amazon can do, and Amazon's just too freaking big. So there's not really an alternative to that.
Well, Amazon has done a lot of stuff. They're in a lot of markets. It's in terms of what they do. Like I said, it's not going to be like there won't be 40 competitors to it, but the best.
I don't see a one coming up, but yeah, Walmart.
The best shot right now is that Walmart will continue to grow and add services and value. You know,
I just don't think they can. I don't think they can do it, because their shtick is logistics, not everything else about a business. Logistics is what keeps them in the running. Anyway.
So high that all the new folks coming in are settling for the advertisement version. Also, I should point out that Disney has acquired Hulu. That was a massive investment. And at this present time, there are at minimum 8 countable package options for bundling D+ with something else. All of this, I say, to get to the first reason to cancel, and that is, obviously, to cut off their financial support. That's kind of a no-brainer, right? You pay them for this service. The first reason to cancel is to directly impact their wallets. Directly hit them hard by removing yourself from that funnel, which is narrowing, of users in their pipeline. We haven't even discussed the actual content yet. That's coming up. Let's be clear, and I'll say it again. This is a platform that keeps raising its prices to manipulate you to choose a cheaper option that wastes your time. Reason number 2 is the never-ending price.
Ironically, I have noticed this in something like in my limited time that I have comparative to what I used to have. I used to have a lot of time, so when I go into a game or something, grinding wasn't that big of a deal. But now I'm looking at it like, would I rather pay $50 to get a bundle so I don't have to grind? Well, with my time, I might, because then I'll spend all my time grinding, and it'll take 10 years to get what I want, as opposed to just buying it and then playing the game for fun. Because I'm not
but
having...
This is usually MMOs, right?
MMOs or anything that's like online stuff, not single player stuff. But like in terms of like if you play the First Descendant and you're like, oh, there's a cool skin for a character or a weapon skin that I want to have or something like that. And it's like, well, I could grind for it potentially in the game. It'll just take 300 hours to get this thing. Or I could spend, $30. Boom, I have it. I can go spend that 300 hours enjoying the game how I want to, rather than grinding that same mission over and over again to get it at a random number generation low chance. Or I could just say I did that for 20 minutes and then I can go play a different game. Like there's more my time becomes more valuable the less of it I have available to do things I wanted to do. So it's like, okay, if I can go work for a couple hours and pay off that weapon skin, why would I spend 50 times that of gameplay in terms of hours spent to get something when I could be enjoying something else on top of that? And actually,
what if the grinding is super fun?
The grinding might be super fun, but it's still 300 hours of time.
That's fair.
And you're still able to go do other things in the game that it's still super fun. Because it's one thing to grind something because you're like close. It's another thing to be like, I'm starting from 0 and going to 50 or 500 or whatever the grind is, and then figuring out I could have done something else with my time.
Starting up Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and seeing you need 500 million Gork seeds.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's no like item to like, oh, you're near this thing, because it starts like a chanting, or like the maracas start jingling in your pack or something because you're nearby one. Like, none of that happens. You just have to randomly explore and hope you find all of them. And it is possible to find all of them. I have a buddy who did that. He found all of them in Breath of the Wild. He didn't bother with the Tears of the Kingdom though. So it's just kind of like,
can't imagine why.
Once you do it, it's like when you, like, I went through Assassin's Creed 1 to 2.5 and 2.75, all the Ezio trilogy and everything, and I fully 100%ed them. I don't have any desire to 100% any other game, even if it's as good of a game, because it just takes so much time. I have to actively tell myself I need to not do this because there's so much time sink into it. And that's where this comes into play. It's like, hey, we're going to offer an ad tier for cheaper, but we get ads off of it, so we'll bring in that free revenue. So you are not paying out of pocket that extra $7, but they're getting more than $7 of ad revenue from you. That kind of a thing. That's what he's kind of implying. And I agree with them. That's what they're doing. I also think I hate ads. So I would be opening a Brave browser and hoping it cuts all the ads out. I don't know. I haven't really tried it, because usually when we're watching something like a Disney Plus or Netflix or Hulu or whatever, it's on a TV. So it's not the same. Or it's on a DVD player, so I don't have any of that to begin with. But
yeah, no, I've passed. I'll acquire and buy the content. I don't want to pay services anymore.
Well,
I have Amazon Prime.
My problem is I have to have the money available to buy all the physical products. I mean, we have a very large growing, amount of DVDs and stuff from the classics, but I also have to be able to find them, because sometimes they're really rare and you can't really find them just walking up on a shelf, grabbing it and saying, I want to buy this. It's not always available or feasible. But when I get the chance to, like, I bought the 4 seasons of Metalocalypse because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
And it's that, or I have to go pay somebody else to have access to them. And by the time I pay off, because I think I paid like $21 for all 4 seasons. Like, it wasn't that much. And it's like, that's like 3 months of a cheap subscription of some sort.
Well, that's when you buy the used product. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's used stuff in good. You can find it in good condition, and it makes more sense to do that than to go spend money consistently and then not end up watching content.
Yeah,
unless you're my wife and just wants to watch freaking Outlander for the 3 billionth time. Anyway,
price adjustments and the damn advertisements. Advertisements and commercials are the very thing we cut cable to get rid of. We moved to streamers to get away from all the crappy ads.
They moved to Netflix because that was all that was available. Because we had like Redbox and whatnot, but Redbox, you had to like physically go someplace to get it and physically go someplace to drop it off. And you only had it for a certain amount of time before they would charge you additional fees and stuff. And so it was a good thing.
If the content is free, like broadcast TV or like some of the streaming channels that are free and they want to have ads, I'll watch the ads. I haven't watched them. I'll let them play. But if I'm paying for the channel, I'm not going to watch the ads. There's no
I'm going to still try and get rid of the ads. But...
Yeah, I'll do whatever I can to get rid of ads regardless. But I would rather watch something with ads if it's free than if it's something that I have to.
Well, I want someone to get paid for what they put on. Like, I'm not a communist. I don't want them to just have to provide like
that in there.
That's fair.
It's called Comment TV, right?
Stuff.
You guys never heard of it? It's called Comment TV.
Yeah,
right?
But like when I have that thing, like if I see something on TV and I'm like, oh, you know what, I like that, I'll go actively look to buy it. The problem is a lot of the stuff they don't have physical copies of. Like, I want to get my hands on the first 3 physical seasons of the Netflix Daredevil because they're freaking good. But finding them is almost impossible because everybody bought them and few people are selling them. And then when you do find them, they're so rare that they're up like 3-4 times their original price. And it's kind of like, drats, I should have picked that up when I first saw it. But,
yeah,
you know, hindsight 2020. So it's like, yeah, I want people who do good content and like make quality. I want them to get rewarded for it. But I also don't want to be inconvenienced. So if I, like, for example, a lot of people, I think it was even Shad had this viewpoint where he allows his book to be audiobook and books to be pirated because if somebody does in fact actually like his content, they'll most likely go out there and buy the product to keep as like a support of it, because it's almost like I don't want to read a book. Like I'm this way, I guess now from all the crap I've heard about a bunch of different books. I'm like, I don't want to go out and pay money for a book and then hate that book. Yeah, I'd rather experience the book, be like,
also,
wow, that was really good, and support it.
Are really awkward because you typically have to find them as part of, say, Audible or something. You can't just as easily find the file, so you can download it and keep it.
Well, I mean, if you're lucky enough to know somebody who has the physical copy, they could just download on a PC and put it on a USB drive.
Yeah, no, I get that, but like buying,
like somebody you might know, Sage,
the file itself, right? I don't want to do the subscription to Audible to get an audiobook, but I want the thing itself.
To be fair, though, I've considered Audible because my job allows me like I get like 10 hours at work to enjoy listening to something. So that's the perfect time for me to listen to an audiobook because I can listen to a whole book in basically a week. And that's just actively listening to it while I'm working, not just me listening to it constantly. But if I go Audible, I'm paying what? I don't even know what it is, $15-$30 a month or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know. But the problem,
but you also get to keep a free audio, or you get to keep one of the audiobooks you pick.
Yeah, but you can't turn it into an MP3 or something to play it every.
I'm sure that you could probably find somebody who has made a modified version of a software that can eat it and.
Yeah, but then it's no longer legal.
Why is it no longer legal if I own it?
No, that's not what I mean.
There's
if I own it, it's legal.
You cannot legally acquire a good version of those by buying it from the producer itself if it's only through a subscription-based system.
I'm not sure if I understand what you mean.
So in the U.S., under DMCA, it is entirely legal for you to record a copy of something that you purchased that's streaming. Okay.
Okay, so fair, but I don't think that applies to Europe.
Well, I'm not saying. I'm just going to say there's a piece of software.
You call it a gift from the Americans, is what you call it.
I'm just going to say there's 2 pieces of software, one of which is OBS Studios, the other which I think is I'll link later because I don't remember the name of it right now, where you can basically record anything you stream. Okay. So if you're in the US, that's your way to do it. Now, if you were to VPN to the US, I don't know if that's possible from Europe, maybe you could do that too. I'm just trying to avoid any illegality. I'm just mentioning it that way,
Just talk to Matt afterwards. He'll hook you up. But anyway, in terms of like, I want to support whatever I think deserves the support, but I don't want to support something that's bad quality. Like there's a reason I go to, whether it be the Critical Drinker, Mahler, FNT, Geeks and Gamers or something, to hear their thoughts on something and be like, okay, enough people are annoyed by this thing that's been made, so I'm going to save my time to go watch a 2-hour film by listening to them for 7 hours about things that I actually find entertaining and enjoyable, which is like watching TV or something. And I can go out and say, hey, I can decide I want to go support this by going to the movie theaters to see it, or getting my own personal copy of it, or this, that, or the other, unless I'm doing like a review like War of the Rohirrim or something. And I can say, I don't think it's worth my time or anything of that nature to spend money and time is money. So anytime you're putting money into something that you have to add time to, because they're always connected. It's how much time are you spending with how much money you're spending. So sometimes people are like, oh, well, if I spend money, I can save time. Or if I save money by spending time, like one or the other, you're going to be just, you're spending a resource of yours at all times. It's how much you're doing. Because whatever you save in money, but you give in time, is time you could be working to make that much money to pay for it, vice versa.
You have to do a cost-benefit analysis.
Yeah. And then it's like, well, if I'm going out and I'm saying, oh, this movie's terrible, this movie's terrible, this movie's terrible, then I don't want to go see those movies, because then it's time and money I'm losing, as opposed to me getting it for free.
I refuse to pay for a movie if I haven't seen it first.
And that's the other thing, is like, I want to see things before I pay for them. It's not always possible, but if I'm going to support it, I want to be like, okay, I'm really going to support that. Now, the things like Godzilla -1 is something I'm willing to support because it's got such a good reputation. I'd be willing to spend money on it because I wouldn't feel like I'm completely wasting my money. I'd be like, at least it's something I can support, that even if I don't like it at the end of the day, which I like it, but if I don't like it, at least it's a good quality product that I can support, because I may not enjoy it personally as a film, but I could say it was a well-made film. It just, I'm not the target audience for it. That could be my viewpoint on it. And I'm okay in that instance because I don't feel like it's a total wash. But if it's something like going to see Captain America, Brave New World or something, there's no multiverse in which me going and see that film is a net benefit to me.
You haven't seen GMO yet?
I haven't seen what?
GMO, Godzilla -1.
Not yet, no. I have not. I've watched like one movie, and that was Die Hard for Christmas, to do like a review on it. I've watched one movie in like the last, outside of War of the Rohirrim, probably 8 months. Wow. I don't have time. That's why I'm saying, is like, now I'm realizing, like I just realized the other day, I was like, it's easier for me to pay for something in a game than to sit there and grind for it. I don't mind if both options are available. I just hate it when they make it only you have to pay or you can't access it. That annoys me to no end. But if they're like, you can grind or you can pay, it's like, okay, that means you're giving me the option because you might actually respect my time. You could say, hey, you probably don't have time because you're working, you've got family responsibilities, you've got all this other stuff, maybe you have other projects going on, and you just don't have free time. So here's a way for you to access this content and still have fun without wasting your time, because you have precious little of it to spend on our entertainment. And that I can be okay with that, especially if it's somebody who's making quality content that I enjoy. Like the reason I would pick The First Descendant over Once Human. Once Human doesn't really have a full product, so I don't feel like I'm being respected when I'm doing it, but it's still better than like Dragon Age Veilguard slop. But point being is it's that benefit analysis, like Matt mentioned, where I want to spend time reading a book I know I'm going to like. But if I go to a bookstore and I pick up a used copy from like Half Price Books or something else, and no, I'm not sponsored, I just like Half Price Books a lot. If I go there and I can find a book for like $5, okay. I mean, if it's got enough reviews, maybe I'll pick it up. But if I'm going there and I'm like, hey, pay $30? I'm like, you're joking, right? I'm not going to pay you $30 for something I don't know if it's even good, because the reviews haven't come out yet, or nobody I know that I would respect the reviews has commented on it. So I don't know. So I'm not going to be like, yeah, I'll go up with $30 for a book I potentially will not like. No, that's why review channels and stuff exist. So that's my rant. Sorry.
They interrupt your programming. They're offensive to the senses. And
we also interrupt the programming. That's just what we do.
Directly waste your time. Now you may say, well, Wizard, I pay for the premium. I don't have any ads. Okay? And how far are you willing to let them go with increasing the price before you do settle for the ad tier? $20? $25? Is there a price to your integrity? Yikes. I mean, no offense. On the premise alone,
but all the offense,
that the price increases.
I like how Grogu's head starts popping up out of the back corner.
Have no end in sight.
He's like,
screw that. The programming is not even worth the $16 or so Boink. It is today. And that quickly brings us into the third reason. Why would you care about negatively impacting their bottom line? because the content is terrible. Now, I could go through each show and each release and explain how with every series of Disney Plus content, all the value of each franchise diminishes. And by that, I mean, with every Star Wars show, the actual brand loses more and more of its value. With every Marvel show,
and it never made up its value either in the sales.
Actual brand loses more and more of its value. But instead, let's look at them overall. Can we really say that Obi-Wan was good, like at all? Ahsoka sure as hell wasn't. WandaVision is a mystery box mess. Ms. Marvel? Come on. Secret Invasion. The entire show was to make Nick Fury look like an emasculated, pathetic cock. How about Willow? What's Willow? I don't know. Disparu talked about it for a while.
And I'm sure you're as amazed as I was, and by that I mean every single person could see that coming from the very start of the show.
Quality of the content is so bad that they've lost the ability to quantify a motivation for buyers to keep paying monthly prices. The best way to send a message about how upset you are with how awful their content is not by taking to social media. It's not through public boycotts and social movements. They don't care about that. You know what they care about? A decline in users. Unsubscribers. We're talking about corporate executives here. Corporate executives don't care what the content is. They don't care if it's good or bad. They're not fans. They don't watch it.
I will say, if they made a lot of crap content, they would try to reel it back in with an Inside Out or, something along that lines to bring somebody back. Because, for example,
Disney produces a lot of content besides Marvel and Star Wars.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, if they're making a lot of schlop, regardless of the origin of Marvel or Star Wars or any other thing, if they're making even a brand new IP or whatever, if they're making just nonstop schlop and all that's happening is they're losing subscribers, they'll be like, well, let's put out this thing that's not the normal schlop, but it's actually legitimately good. It fulfills the populace's dreams or whatever. And then they'll post it on Disney Plus because you'll see a surge of, you guessed it, subscribers. Because that's how that works. People are gullible. They'll be like, oh, maybe they've turned over a new leaf. No, they haven't. But they think they have. And people will come back to it hoping that they have. And that's the idea, is that, is it good to cancel Disney Plus? Yes. It's better to get physical, hands down. Is it more convenient to have Disney Plus? Yes. Is that a good thing? No. But how can we solve that? Well, we can unsubscribe. Okay. Well, they're going to release this really popular IP or this really popular video that got released, and now everybody wants to watch it. Where do you watch it? The place you unsubscribe from. So let's re-up our subscription and jump back in there and give them either more money or time or time to experience that again. Because they're probably not going to make a physical copy of it. Because like a lot of companies, like I think it was Sony, is stopping all their physical media.
Well, they're going to farm it out. They're not stopping it, but they're basically going to farm out the production of the physical media to a third-party company.
Either way, it's good.
So they want to do.
We're going to see a drop in physical media being a thing.
Well, that's the thing is, like now the model now for say a Blu-ray is, they'll project they can sell 10 million copies, so they'll print 10 million of them, right? The model they're moving towards is they're going to print on demand. So, like, if you want, say, Star Wars Special Edition on Blu-ray, let's say you want a Sony movie, you want Craven on Blu-ray or whatever.
Nobody wants Craven on Blu-ray.
Yeah, you'll go to Blu-ray, superblu-ray.com, order it, and they'll print it on demand for you, basically.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be against that.
Well, and I support that in the sense that we don't want to put 9.9 million discs in the landfill when people eventually throw them away. Now
what we need to do is find that landfill and start digging.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And in most cases, they don't even care if you watch it, as long as it didn't cost a fortune to make. They care that you keep paying. The best way to send a message is to stop paying. And so, in a world where the Disney Plus show about space and time is awful, we've discussed the space. How about the time? That is one of the worst segues of all. Time to get through the shows.
Sort of. I've seen worse.
That's true. There's always worse.
Time between releases. Every piece.
I mean, I kind of already talked about time, so I'm not going to probably say too much here.
Of the Disney Plus experience is rooted.
All to save your time. You're welcome.
In wasting your time. Disney Plus shows are structured in a way.
That's what we do.
Space Tianki.
Oh, yeah.
Stellaris.
Just as many weeks.
Well, I guess these could also technically...
2 credit card charges
really
in before the season ends. And then you have to...
They look like Space Tianki.
Wait many, many, many months or years for any new kind of content. Ahsoka was basically...
Let them die.
Confirmed in 2019, and then it was formally announced in 2020. It didn't release till 2023, and it was unsatisfying, ending on a mystery box after wasting 8 weeks of episodes where nothing happened, only to resolve by saying you'll get the answers to these questions in Season 2, and Season 2 might come out in 2026, probably closer to 2027. We don't know yet, but that would be all.
I feel like I wasted time just watching that clip.
Yeah.
Because literally nothing happened, just stared. And stared.
True. But that's most
slightly turned and still stared.
I mean, that's also basically the entirety.
Look at the corner of your eye. Slightly smile. Still staring. And then turn completely. And then slowly wander off. It's like, wow, it feels like 10 minutes just passed and nothing happened.
Almost a decade in time. Time wasted. Are you supposed
Time wasted, yes.
to stay subscribed to Disney Plus in that interim between seasons 1 and 2? Corporate certainly wants you to. Oh, there's plenty of other...
It's also very easy to stay subscribed.
True.
It's what people do.
You don't have to do anything, really.
Yeah. That's
just
the
like Ahsoka.
It's easier to stay subscribed than it is to unsubscribe, resubscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. They also offer bundles where it's like, hey, if you go for a full year at this price, we'll give you a slower rate or a lower rate, but we're going to keep you also locked in for a whole year. That's just a trade-off sometimes.
Stuff to watch. Is there? Can you really get through all 8 episodes of Agatha All Along and feel like you didn't waste your time?
No, it's not possible.
I can't even bring myself to watch Skeleton Crew because I can't sacrifice another 8.
I've heard Skeleton Crew's not bad for a children's story, but it's just
it's too late.
Everyone's tired of the Star Wars nonsense, so we're just giving up on it.
Hours for a Disney Plus show that I know will spend the first 6.5 episodes.
And I like Star Wars for more of the mature reasons, not the kiddish types content. Like, I don't watch it. The only thing I would watch Star Wars for the kids is the younglings being slaughtered. So let's just go with that. I know that's dark, but that's the way I do it.
It's being boring, only for a big reveal to happen at the end of 6. 7 will be a flashback episode that changes nothing, and then 8 will end on another unsatisfying cliffhanger. I know that was just the acolyte. Your time is very important. And wherein the shows aren't even that good from a writing standpoint, the episodes are structured in a way to waste your time, stretching ideas that wouldn't make good feature films into 8-week slogs that just eat up your clock. My friends, you're going to die. Stop.
That's my level of darkness right there. You're all going to die.
You're going to die.
Did you guys ever remember Dragon Ball Z Abridged?
Yeah.
Mr. Popo. Mr. Popo. You're all going to die. It's such a freaking classic.
Wasting your precious time watching Disney Plus slop. And before we get into reason number 5, I can hear many of you already in the comments. Well, I liked Andor, or Disney Plus has Bluey, or whatever.
Yeah, I've already covered that stuff.
Wait a minute.
You read my mind, guys. You read my mind.
Paying monthly for this. That's on you, kid. If you're someone who pays for Disney Plus, I don't think you should complain if you...
Now, that's a key word, paying for Disney Plus. You're not paying for Disney Plus if you're giving it free. That's where I don't know the necessary choice of action or course of action from real life fake wizards perspective. And I'd love to sit down and talk to him about it, but it probably won't happen. But I would love to do it. So if you're watching, hit me up. But the difference between paying...
You think he wants to waste his time watching a...
I don't... Nobody wastes their time with my videos. Are you daft? Look at the viewers, the viewer counts. The average person that watches a video of mine is like not even 3 minutes. Why you would even start a freaking video if you weren't invested in the concept already, I don't know, but it's I watched freaking 6-hour videos from beginning to end without fail, but I'm also a freaking weaponized autism reincarnate, so I'm probably the exception to the rule, not the rule.
Think the content is bad. You're funding it. Like, yeah, you may hate that Star Wars is crap now. You may hate that Marvel is crap now, but you don't have any real right complaining about it because you're not willing to take action to fix it. Complacency in this world is not a good thing. If you yourself are fed up with how Disney thinks about its customers, that it more or less hates them, and you continue to pay for this service, you're contributing to the problem. That's a bit hypocritical. And I'm not saying this to be condescending or talk down to anyone. I think many of you need to hear this, because maybe it'll put things in a different perspective. In the real world, we complain all the time, right? We complain about work and family and our current situation, and that we want things to be better, don't we? Do you take action to make some of those things better? Or do you just complain? I complain all the damn time. Part of this video is just me complaining. I understand that. Join me on a live stream also. I bitch constantly. But my complaining is me talking through ideas because I'm looking for actionable solutions. Like, I want to solve problems, and my way of doing that is by speaking out loud. It's just my processing. The next time you find yourself complaining, ask yourself why. Are you looking for solutions? Or do you just want to bitch?
Most people want the second, not the first. I'm more the first.
Yep.
I want the solution. I don't want to just complain about it.
Why not both?
Because I don't see any value to it.
That's fair.
I mean, I complain about all this stuff as it is because there's value in a potential chance, slim as it might be, of an actual change without any, like, my chair keeps sliding down. It's really annoying me. Any change of, like, maybe somebody will wake up and be like, you know what? It's not the people that's wrong. It's me. And I know that's a very slim chance.
Yeah. Whew.
But it worked for Sonic, so there's. So you're saying there's a chance, but I don't see any value in trying to just complain. Even if you want a solution, just complaining isn't enough. You have to complain and then move on. You have to kind of show that you're not going to just complain about it. You're going to actively just ignore the thing that you're complaining about and go towards the things that you actually do care about that are not destroyed yet. Few and far between as those things might be. But you're doing it specifically so you can actually get to a better solution. Like, I want Star Wars to recover, but there's no signs of it recovering. I wouldn't necessarily mind Marvel recovering. I just don't see any chance of that happening either, despite it looking like that might be the case. But again, we'll see. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, nothing's changed. So,
The fifth and most important reason to cancel your Disney Plus membership is a culmination of all these reasons, but isolating a direct message to Bob Iger, the board of directors, the story groups, the managers, the marketing executives, the journalists, the access media outlets, the shills, the normies, and everyone else in between, that you want to see Disney fail. Now, lots of people can't handle a negative idea like that, or my phrasing, or even the thought of Disney failing, but let's look back on that Bob Iger book. He admits that Disney Plus is his endgame. They're paying billions of dollars for content and hosting and upkeep, and over the last decade or so, Disney has made it their practice to insult, belittle, and borderline extort their customers. The company is not morally good even though they pretend to be. They tell their loyal fans and loyal customers that they're not welcome anymore.
I don't think Disney understands what morality is outside of the relative and subjective versions.
Sure.
And that's the problem.
I don't really think they care, but
they don't have to care. That's still a problem.
Identities, beliefs, or what they look and sound like. Corporate managers and directors are on record saying heinous, offensive, racist, and discriminatory things about employees and customers. This company doesn't like you. You may love them. You may go to Disney World every year. My friends, they don't care. And they've admitted that Disney Plus is their final frontier. It's their big kahuna. They think they're too big to fail. And all of this, after all of these awful things that they've done, after all the atrocities they've committed to franchises that defined generations, after the gaslighting and ostracizing they've done to passionate and loyal supporters, I want nothing more than to see them collapse under the pressure of their own hubris. I am no fan of megacorporations. I'm even less a fan of megacorporations that try to tell people what to think and how to feel. Disney has done that and more. They own the news media. They own all the largest entertainment companies, which means they own the movie theaters, the Hollywood, the television shows. They own the sports broadcasting.
I mean, to be fair, they don't actually own all the theaters. They still have to pay the theaters. Just they might own theaters that are in their areas, like Disney World or Disneyland or something, but they don't own all the theaters. They wouldn't lose profits then, if that was the case.
They own the vacation destinations. But it doesn't matter if you stop watching ABC. It doesn't matter if you don't go to the movie theater or don't watch ESPN.
If anything, not going to the movie theater is actually more harmful. It's just, I think movie theaters need to expand what they play. Like, if they played the classics and the stuff we all grew up on, they would make a killing and stay alive. But as movie theaters close, bleh, words, as they clothe themselves, please, we need more support. But no, as they close, we're going to get less and less experiences that we can enjoy in them. And no one wins out of that. The theaters are not the problem. It's the people making the content that's the problem. It's still going down.
It doesn't even matter if you don't shop on the Disney Store website. I said before, they revealed too much.
Who does that?
And it's like watching an enemy reveal their blueprint plan. If Disney Plus is what they've sunk billions...
Is this the one that happened in Rogue One? Revealed their... That's how Rogue One got made. It's like, oh, it was all about Disney all along.
Upon billions of dollars into, and it's their end game, then that's how you...
Man, he's saying all the freaking, like, buzzwords. It's the end game all along. The blueprint.
You cripple them. You want to force Disney into submission?
Break his
kneecaps. You want them to start listening to the customers again? Do you want them to start making good stuff again?
Yes.
Do you want consumers to wrestle back control of the free market?
Yes.
Cripple them at their weakest point.
Correction, I should correct myself. I want to give the power to people who actually care about the material that they are fighting for. I don't want the power to go to people who don't care about that. Because you could say, oh, power to the people. It's like, oh yeah, well sure, the fans can get it, but half the fans, if not more, are people who don't actually care about it. That's what we see in Wheel of Time. This is what we see in Star Wars. This is what we see in all the... They don't care as long as they're entertained. That's not a fan. That's an entertainment nut job. Like they came for the entertainment, not for the source material. And so if you don't find value in the source material, you should be okay with literally any schlop that's handed to you. So I don't want it to go like, as a Wheel of Time fan, I want the Wheel of Time source material put in the hands of somebody who actually does give a crap. And then they actually make something good with it to replace all the bad stuff that's been put out, so that we can actually have good content once again. Because I don't see very much of it. You don't see any of it, or much of it, any more than I do anyway. And we're not going to get anywhere with any good IP. We want Lord of the Rings to be handled by somebody who cares about Lord of the Rings or any of the Tolkien stuff in general. We don't want to see Chronicles of Narnia handled by somebody who doesn't care about Chronicles of Narnia. We don't want to see people deal with Marvel, DC, any of these other IPs, Harry Potter, freaking whatever the series might be. We want them to see it by somebody who respects the lore, respects the source material, whatever the case might be, so that we can actually get something valuable out of it. And I don't think the average person, no offense to all of you average people out there, I don't think the average person is intelligent enough to understand why they like or dislike something. Most of them like something because they're entertained, not because they like the material that's being presented to them. And we see that in the Wheel of Time fandom because, you know, they just eat up whatever Rafe Judkins feeds them, as we see all the time. And then we're looking at it, but none of this makes sense. This kills off so many plot lines, so many storylines that need to actually make it to the end for the last battle to even freaking take place properly with a winning victor. So all they're doing is rewriting everything. And it's like, I didn't come for a rewrite. I didn't come for a new IP. I came for Wheel of Time. Ladies. It's just, like, it's just, we're not getting the stuff we're promised, and I don't have faith in the masses because the masses don't have faith in the source material.
Cancel Disney Plus, and they'll come crawling back. I opened this video by telling you that The Acolyte was my final straw. I was content living silently with Disney's offenses and mediocrity for many, many years, boiling up inside until The Acolyte made me into this. I was a last...
into this real-life fake wizard. Oh, we lost Matt again.
Yeah, he couldn't handle
the Wheel of
the
Time
reveal.
stuff. He couldn't handle the Wheel of Time stuff. Let's see. Hopefully he'll come back.
I guess we'll find out.
Jedi apologist, heartbroken at how they treated Luke Skywalker and my heroes, but willing to say, don't worry guys, it's all gonna be better. They're gonna explain everything and make everything better. It's all gonna be okay. And then we got Ahsoka and The Acolyte, the final insults. If you're tired of megacorporation,
don't worry, it's not the final insult. It's just the beginning.
It's the final insult.
Taking advantage of us. If you're tired of elitist corporate fat cats living in their penthouses and speaking down to you like you're a mindless drone. If you have a calling to do something about it, do something about it. And
I mean, I would argue that's what I'm doing here. It's just I am doing YouTube wrong, apparently, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because it's all I can do. And even if I have a small voice, I'm going to still shout off the rooftops that we need to value the things that are valuable and basically replace the things that are not valuable. But that's a different story.
And this is easy. You don't take up picket signs or protest. You don't even need to talk about it on social media. You just stop being a mindless consumer and reject the system.
I would argue that talking about it on social media could have a positive impact in causing more people to cancel Disney Plus, or having Disney potentially notice that the reasons their numbers are dropping is because of all the bad press they're getting, and they're getting the bad press because of X, Y, and Z, and then they have to change course if they want to pull that off.
Well, even
will they do it? I don't know.
It's more than just the bad press. I mean, they're not producing enough high quality content, you know, to make people want to. And we're in a negative economic time with, you know, friggin' eggs costing like $6 a dozen and crazy numbers like that. So if you have to pay,
yeah, but that's a different thing entirely, though, because that's like an actual, you know, bird flu coming through, killing a bunch of chickens, and then, you know.
Oh no, it's not natural. Long story short, which I won't get into.
Thank you.
Just it is not the bird flu. It was a political decision that caused that. But anyway,
yeah,
long story short.
Are you implying that politics isn't a bird flu?
People are spending money on other things that are much more priority to them in their lives. So when you see a Disney Plus or Netflix or Hulu or whatever, you are like, wait a minute, I gotta spend way more on food and heat and stuff like that. I can't afford to just carry this subscription, you know.
Is this where we get sponsorships from, like, what is it called, Rocket Money or something like that, where they have that app that you can cancel all your stuff with the push of a button?
Yeah, for a fee.
For a fee. Yes, but that's a fee that saves you money, I guess. But I don't freaking know. I wouldn't use it.
Subscribe to our app and we'll cancel all your subscriptions for you.
Including mine to this one? Yeah, exactly.
System that we're all hooked into. Wake up and take back control. Cancel Disney Plus. Thank you for joining me for this pondering video. Again, if this brought you any value and you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel. If you didn't agree with me, you don't like this, you're a Disney shill.
Yeah, subscribe to the Questioners or be a bigot. Just kidding. Now subscribe to real life fake wizard. He's actually got a lot of really good content, and there's probably been a lot of misunderstandings in the past that I've seen of things that he views, but he actually does view them the way we view them or the way that Arch views them or something. It's just misunderstanding of words and terms used. But yeah, check out his channel and give it a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But
that's amazing. We did two whole stories in less than 3 whole hours.
3 hours. 3 stories. We did Fable, we did Kathleen Kennedy, and we did cancel Disney Plus in this time period. I must be growing up or something. Let's not do that. I prefer to stay young forever. Anyway.
Which is a really good Mel Gibson movie, Forever Young, by the way.
I saw that when I was a kid, and I did not understand it. But
it's a grown-up movie. It's not a kid movie.
I know. That's why I just saw it as a kid. I didn't understand it. We had it on VHS. Old. But yeah. Oh, goodness gracious. I don't know.
I mean, when it comes down to it, you know, if you have to, I mean, it's hard to get any content at all for a normie. I'm not saying not for me. Like, all I need is the internet, right? But for a normie, you got to have at least one service to get some content. So you have your free TV, and you have whatever your streaming app is on your smart TV. Could be Roku, could be Amazon Prime, you know, and then that's more or less like what you can justify in these economic times. You can't justify having ESPN Plus for sports and Disney Plus for Disney stuff and Peacock for NBC stuff, and and plus wrestling.
All the streaming services have turned into just terrestrial TV. That's all it is.
Well, it looks like the evolution of the market. We talk about this on my wrestling show on Wednesday nights. Wrestling seems to be moving towards being on streaming content, so and not cable anymore. So cable is going to go away. Your cable box will be a little internet device that you can hook up to a streaming service with, and then you'll get all your content through that streaming service, and then you have your broadcast channels, your streaming service, and your original media,
So like regular terrestrial TV.
Well, I mean, it's free.
It's the same thing.
It's easy to broadcast, and I mean, especially how high def is cheap. Like when we were talking about this, I don't know, back in the 80s and 90s, the coming high, what was coming, none of us thought that broadcast TV would even exist anymore, and it's still one of the most popular formats to get content. I mean,
YouTube is pretty much up there as like the number one, I think, isn't it?
I have a TV tuner that connects. It basically has an antenna on it to get high def, and I do a lot of DVR, not as much anymore because I got all the content, but I DVR TV shows that I watch constantly, and it edits the commercials out of them and everything for me,
Yeah, I mean, there could be a whole place like Netflix, and I would look at all of it and say there's nothing to watch, because there's really not, personally, but that's just me.
It depends on. That's why I have so much content in my Netflix. Like it's what you're in the mood for. Like I haven't watched the first season of Chicago Fire in I don't know 5-7 years. All of a sudden today I watched 4 or 5 episodes from it.
I just looked at the Sean Bean series Sharp, because I saw a clip of it and I was like, man, this looks so freaking good.
Sharp is amazing.
I didn't watch this.
I reviewed the first 4 seasons so far of it before I had to stop with health problems. It's really amazing.
Yeah, and I think that's something my wife would actually watch with me, because she likes Outlander type stuff, and I was like, well, it's kind of like the old time periods, and I was like, oh, yeah, maybe she'd like this. She liked Little House on the Prairie and that kind of thing, and I was like, maybe this will be something we could bond over, because we don't like the same things when it comes to content we watch. So I like the violent stuff that's more intellectual, and he likes the more girly stuff, because
there's another series from the 90s called Hornblower, Horatio Hornblower.
Yeah, I remember Horatio Hornblower. That was a good one too.
Yeah, I read again. All my stuff stopped because of the health problems, but I was in the middle of watching and those two and reviewing them.
I mean, honestly, I wish I had your free time. I really do. But unfortunately,
you find that you wish you had that free time until you have it.
No, because I have lots of things I can do to fill free time. I just don't have the free time to do those things.
Like I said, once you have it and have lived it for a while, you find yourself saying, I could actually do some work and enjoy that too. It's like,
well, I'm not saying I wouldn't do work. I mean, if I had more free time, I could do more projects. I could maybe make 2-3 videos a week on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
I could have more content. I could make more music.
Like,
I could do more projects in the background.
Like I have all day free now that I'm sick and still recovering, but unfortunately I can't really sit at my desk too long. I'm working that up. Right. And I was and 7 months ago I was working my job and trying to do YouTube, and I'm like, I have no time for anything anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Add a family and kids to that mix, and it makes even less time. But yeah. All in all, Fable's having some troubles. Hopefully they fix it. I don't think they will. Ultimately, they really need to avoid the fairy tale nonsense because that's not Albion. And Kathleen Kennedy may or may not be actually stepping down at the end of the year. I think it's a ploy, but I could be wrong, and I'll be happy if I'm wrong. And then obviously canceling Disney Plus. There's lots and lots of good reasons to do so. Maybe I'll have a chance to talk to Real Life Fake Wizard about the difference between paying for it and getting it free and giving viewership and whatnot. So we'll see. Maybe I'll reach out to him and see what he thinks. But as all things must come to an end, like this video. So since Sage is so enraptured in our conversation, we will go ahead and wrap this up. Sage, you don't have anything happening, so we'll skip you.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything.
Nothing ever happens in Europe.
Well, except bad things. Except bad things. Only bad things happen.
Yeah, true.
Bad things do happen in Europe.
So nothing.
So nothing good. Nothing good happens in Europe. Matt, you got anything coming on with your YouTube channel or?
Okay, so Wednesday night is overbooked to the wrestling show. Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Joker Voices channel, me, Left Ego, and Brad talk about wrestling means WWE. This week on Roman of the Empire, we'll be reviewing, which probably would be 4 days ago from when you post the video. We're reviewing The Last Starfighter. On my own channel, I wanted to try this weekend because I really want to watch that Wheel of Time clip and maybe talk about it a bit. So maybe I will get to that before this weekend comes up. I'm trying. I'm for those who don't know, I'm recovering from quite a few illness problems, so I'm trying to build up the strength to sit at my desk and do more than just the few things I have to do to function there. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
And unsubscribe from Disney Plus. There you go.
Cancel Disney Plus. I am going to try to put out some more content. Currently, I am swamped with work and everything else, so it's reducing a lot of what I have for free time. I did happen to come across some free time this week, so it worked out a little bit better. So my normal schedule's all over the place. But hopefully in the future, my schedule will clear up a bit more, and I will be able to make a lot more content and or work on a lot more of my projects that I want to work in the background. Because, having free time and not having a whole lot of responsibilities so I can focus on those things allows more things to get done. So, yeah, that's going to be it for me, I think. So, I guess we'll just wait until we see what else comes out. But we'll go for that another time. So, thank you, everybody, for sticking around this long if you have. I know 2 hours, 20 minutes is about 7 hours shorter than it normally is. But
this is our version of a YouTube short.
This is our YouTube short, yes. Not a minute, you get 2 hours. But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz. Love to hear your guys' thoughts, even if you disagree with us or dislike us, because that seems to be the most comments I get. But hey, I'll take it. It all counts. So thanks everybody for hanging out. And remember, my friends, walk in the light.